ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Back Row Banter, episode number 14. I am your host, Adam Schwartz. On today's show, we have some news, some big TV cancellations. We got a trailer talk this week. It's going to be Dune. The Dune trailer finally released. We have your new to streaming for the third week of September. This is the third week. Is it second or third? Somewhere around there.
Second week of September?
Maybe. I don't know. I should pull up a calendar. That might be helpful. And then we'll get our what we're watching and our main review for the week. The main topic here is Tenet. It is so all right. If we're answering this third week of September question,
It's third week.
the
third
first week, yeah, it's the beginning of the third week because the first week started on Tuesday. It's a long month. It's like a 5-week month. You know what I'm saying?
Your birthday.
You're joining me today. We still don't have a new title for you. It's what was the last spooky?
No, we do have
scary.
We do have a new one.
Oh, you got a new one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tyler and I have a co-title now.
Yeah, so
Oh,
we're
you have a
just
co-title.
we're just known as the Kingston Lanes volleyball champions.
Okay.
2020.
Yeah.
Congrats on
Okay.
that then. I'm assuming you guys took the
All right,
championship this week.
Let me back
Took
that
ship.
up. Let me back that up.
That's what I
real
like
quick.
to hear.
Joining me today are two guys who kind of play volleyball at a bar and won something.
Kind of
It's,
play
uh,
volleyball, bro. It's a straight
Nathaniel
up league.
Gingrich
I'm an
and
animal.
Tyler Morales.
And
How
a
dare
bar.
you
It's
guys
so
doing?
much more
How you-
than that.
How dare you
How are you guys doing today?
disrespect our establishment like that?
We're peak performance athletes.
You should
Oh,
have
is that
seen me out there.
Mhm.
Real quick, if we're talking about it, shout out to the winning team. It's just Team Vidalis, Gay Sports. But that's Danielle, Megan, Nathaniel, myself,
me.
Brett Lefevre, and Rob Gillen. Let's get it. You're all champions. And then we actually beat Justin's team in the championship. So they're
Justin is
also
your
kind of
brother.
like our family. So, like shout out Justin, Mitch, Marcella, Gunn. What's up, Gunn? And then Matthew Schweberg. What's good, bro? So yeah,
You know what
it
this
was-
feels
it was
like?
great. It
This
was a
feels
great
like
time.
a award show where the people accept their awards and just start naming names that I have
Yeah.
no idea who they are.
They know.
That's what I just.
That's the
went through.
best part about
I
it.
just turned
Right.
off my brain for a solid 30 seconds. I'm sure all those people are fantastic. I just don't know who you're referencing.
Oh
neither
yeah,
does the
Ryan
audience.
Foley.
I was gonna
Okay,
say you left off the one guy that's really gonna be upset about that.
Not to be upset. It was for dramatic effect.
Yeah.
Last
Pause.
but not
Yeah.
least.
Of course.
Yeah,
And well,
but,
speaking of last but not least, it's Big Cat Blake over there. BlakeHolder. How you doing?
What's
Big
going
Cat?
on, bro?
Break. We saw your new car today.
You got a new car?
I
Big
saw.
Cat?
What are we getting at here?
I saw the truck with the license plate, the CatCon.
Oh,
All right, explain that a little bit, Nathaniel.
Well,
it's
we
a
have
massive cat convention. That's what we hope.
Yeah,
it is.
we have Big
Okay.
Cat Blake, obviously, our fearless big cat enthusiast. And I was driving today and I saw a truck with the license plate CatCon on it, spelled exactly how you would think it was. So I was trying to figure out if maybe Blake's looking for a new line of work or something like that, wanted to get it into a field that obviously is passion. Maybe
Hey.
he was just setting up some stuff.
Hey, you never know, man. I might have to reach out to them, see what they got going on here. Hopefully, like I said, it's a massive cat convention with all
course.
different types of cats.
Which is
Now
wild.
Now
cats.
people are bringing their cats to the convention. This is what this is, or is there a bunch of cat enthusiasts like yourself going to a convention to discuss cats?
That's a good question because I feel like for example, like a sneaker con is a lot of like shoe enthusiasts going there.
Of course.
So I don't know if it
same
would be.
thing with Comic-Con. I mean, obviously you have comics at
Yeah.
Comic-Con, but
Right,
it's
right.
for comic enthusiasts.
So
'cause when
actually, it might just be a bunch of Blakes.
Cat Con, I just don't know if that's cat enthusiasts or a convention for cats where you bring your
Right.
I
pets.
like that. I really hope that Blake becomes like the collective noun for like a group of cat. A Blake of cat enthusiasts.
That'd be great. Do you have a big cat fact for us today?
I don't,
learn anything
man.
new?
I,
Okay.
I do not. I didn't learn anything new.
Sure.
Just been kind of watching a few things, watching a ton of sports this week because football started
Yeah,
last
Of
week.
course.
So I've been watching a ton of that.
For sure. Well, let's get into the show here, boys. Our first news story of the day. The Walking Dead to end with season 11 and 2 more spin-offs in the pipeline at AMC.
Thank God.
Yeah.
To the 2 new spin-offs? Aren't you so excited for these
5,
spin-offs,
Felicia.
Nathaniel? Aren't you going to watch them both?
I loved Walking Dead when it started. It was one of those shows that my mom and my
Agreed.
brother and I all watched. My mom loved it. My mom got really into that. Shout out, Mom. But after
Shout out, Mom.
the Negan season,
Sharon!
yes, my mom's name is Sharon, spelled with 2 R's. So
Okay.
Tyler enjoys to do his Ozzy impression whenever he can. But yeah, I mean, Walking Dead was really great from the start, but then it just drug on and on and on and on and on.
Yeah,
and,
no, for sure.
And AMC just bet so hard with it that I feel like they're trapped.
That was
themselves
really
into this kind of thing.
When's the last time you turned on AMC for anything else? They had Breaking Bad, they had Mad Men, but now it's just Walking Dead. What else do they really have?
I didn't know Breaking Bad was AMC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would have sworn that was HBO.
Breaking Bad was so good.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, there's a while there where AMC just couldn't miss.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
yeah,
they
had
were like
said
the
Breaking
HBO
Bad.
Max of real TV.
Yeah, they really they had a lot of good series going in the early 2000s or 2010s, whatever you want
Right.
to call it. To finish out the story here though, so yeah, Walking Dead's going to be done after their final season. What happened with it was season 10 got cut off. They ended it like 2 episodes, or either an episode before or 2 episodes. They had to end production before the finale, and so those episodes got released as like one giant. I believe it was 2 episodes to finish off season 10. It would have been. It got released as one long episode or something like that, as one long season finale.
Mhm.
You know, and then the 11th season is going to be 24 episodes.
Oh.
Wow.
Basic, yeah. Here, I'll read this paragraph from the Hollywood Reporter article. The basic cable network said Wednesday that the previously announced 11th season of the zombie drama will be its last and will be supersized to 24 episodes, up from its traditional 16, to stretch over 2 years. Paired with the 6 previously announced episodes that were tacked on to season 10, there are 30 remaining episodes of the flagship Walking Dead series from creator Robert Kirkman that will air through late 2020. So we have, even though it's being canceled, we still have 30 episodes of The Walking Dead left. However, that season 10 ended, I remember there being some super long episode. It might have been the mid-season finale that I was thinking of, but it looks like they've got at least 6 episodes left for season 10 and then another 24 for season 11. Nathaniel, you were trying to say something before I went in there. So what were you trying to say?
No, it was kind of off topic. I was wondering how the gang feels about long seasons now. I feel like because of Netflix, I'm so used to like 8 episode seasons that if anyone tells me that like the old cable network shows have like 24 seasons, like The Flash or something like that, 24 episodes a season, I'm just like, that's far too much. I'm tired at that point.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's ends up being so much filler with those nowadays.
I would, for sure, I would agree. I think at this point, I'm kind of used to a standard 10 episode season, maybe 8 or 10 episodes an hour a piece.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where we're at nowadays with most shows. Anything that strays away from that, 24 episodes, and Walking Dead episodes are an hour long.
I was gonna say 24.
You're telling me there's 24 hours
animes that are like 20 minutes long.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
You're telling me there's 24 hours of Walking Dead left to tell? Come on.
I do not want to
they
see
must have
anything
the audio for
The
this,
Walking
right?
Dead does
I didn't
for
even
24
think there
hours.
was a season 9 or 10 for them to be able to tell.
There wasn't. There really wasn't. I haven't. Actually, you know what? I'll take that back. I've heard that. I think it was the 8th or the 9th season when they introduced the Whisperers. Was actually pretty good. The Whisperers, because I don't know. I've read about 3/4 of the Walking Dead comics. And the Whisperer storyline is a pretty popular one from the comics, and they did it on the TV show. Apparently, handled it really well. Had some good stuff going for them. I think that was season 9 or 10.
Yeah, Kirkman's a
or
great
8 or
writer.
9 or something like that. Yeah. Oh, for sure. It's just 11 seasons of a show is too many. Especially, I won't say that, but it's a lot. It's too many in this situation where each season has 16 episodes, because that was the standard for seasons 1 through 10 of The Walking Dead, is 16 episodes an hour a piece. Now you're telling me there's a 24 episode season at the end. That's too much Walking Dead. So sorry, you're right. First season was a little shorter, was 6. And then second season I believe was 12 or 13 maybe.
Yeah.
So then I'll take that back. Yeah, it was seasons 3 through I guess 10. I think were 16 episodes. and now you're getting a 24 episode. Yeah, it's just too much. And I think the main audience behind The Walking Dead fell off probably around the Negan season is when I hear a lot of. That's when I fell off.
Like after
That's when I
season
hear a
4
lot
or
of-
5.
Season 6, I believe, is when I officially stopped watching. But yes, in that time range, probably around 2015, 2016, because it was very popular. When did it start? 2010, I believe. Let me look this up.
I'm not entirely.
want to
I'm not
say
entirely.
Yeah,
2009.
I've only
Walking
seen a
Dead
handful
started
of
October
episodes.
31st, 2010.
The book started in 2003.
Mm.
Yeah, the books were around for a while before the show came around. But
So
the
how
show
long was
started in
that show
2010.
good till it kind of went to crap, like seasons wise?
I would say
Seasons
like
1 through
season 4 or
3.
5.
Yeah, seasons 1 through 4, I would say are pretty good. 1 through 3, 1's really good. 2, I don't like a lot because it's very repetitive. I feel like 3 is really good and 4 is really good in my opinion, from what I remember.
Yeah.
After that, like I said, I stopped watching in season 6, which I think it was
Is
2016.
4 the one with the governor?
3 and 4. The second half of 3, I believe, is a little bit of the governor, and then it's 4. All of 4
Yeah,
is
3
basically
3 I know
governor
has
as
the
well.
prison.
3 is when they introduced the prison, which is where a lot of the show takes place for about 2.5 seasons, I believe, is the prison storyline. Yeah, I liked it for a while, but it definitely fell off there.
So did I. I remember it was one of the ones I had like the poster up in my wall in college. And
Oh yeah,
stuff. was
I
really
like I
into
said,
it,
I have the comics. The comics are fantastic.
Yeah,
I
they
haven't
must have the
finished them.
audience for it.
They must. I mean, obviously they're going to end it, but because it's well deserved. But now they're having 2 spin-off shows. One of them is going to be Carol.
Right,
and
they talked about.
Carol.
And
Don't they
talked
already
about,
have
like,
one spin-off?
movies
They already have one
for a
spin-off.
while?
They already have 2. They have Fear the Walking Dead, which is a
Right.
direct, like an actual drama show. It's kind of the same thing and same concept, different place. And then they have they had it in the story here. They have The Walking Dead World Beyond, which is. Oh, I'm sorry. Hang on. The World Beyond. Wait, I'm mixing the shows up here. Tales of the Walking Dead is the other new show that they're gonna do. That's gonna be an anthology show, so they're gonna have
It was a
different
game.
characters or different. No, that's what's saying the anthology series Tales of the Walking Dead.
No, I'm saying that's cool if it is a show, but there's also a game that's called Tales of the Walking Dead.
Oh, sure.
It's
Yeah,
like
they had because they also have they have the Telltale games that are very
Yeah.
popular. Yeah. So they're gonna have Tales of the Walking Dead. That's an anthology series where they're gonna have different characters or storylines played out a little bit longer for that were either mentioned in the show or mentioned in other shows, or just straight up new ideas they have. And then it's gonna be the Daryl and Carol show. Then they have Fear the Walking Dead, like I mentioned earlier, and then they have one more called Walking Dead: The World Beyond, which is a new one. I don't really know what that one's about though.
Gotcha.
We were actually just talking about this whole Walking Dead thing earlier today. And if you've read the books, they're all in black and white. And I was telling Nathaniel and our friend Jamie that when they did season 1 in black and white, it was like
Yeah,
the
they
greatest thing
re-released
I've
it.
ever seen. Yeah.
They did.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
remember
remember watching that.
It was
It was really
incredible.
cool. Yeah, I honestly wish that they would release maybe the whole series in black and
I
white. 'Cause
honestly thought they were going to, based on like the popularity that had from
No,
like the
I
actual
read-
fan base, and they didn't.
I read somewhere recently that the comics are getting a color version.
I
Let me look
honestly
this up.
haven't read them in a while, and I have not kept up on them at any point.
Yeah, I didn't read the Walking Dead comics. I read his other series, Invincible.
Yeah, so the Walking Dead comics are getting a color version. They're going to be released. It looks like this October. They're going to start being released, re-released, I guess. Yeah.
Not mad at
So
it.
yeah. I think this is a long overdue ending. I think most of us would agree on that.
Yes.
And we'll see where The Walking Dead goes, because I think the world is really cool, but they just haven't done a good job of telling good stories outside of the main show after like the 6th season. The games that we mentioned earlier, the Telltale games are pretty good. They're really well liked as far as their storytelling. Some of them, others are not. Like I know the Michonne, they have a Michonne one that's okay. So yeah, the Walking Dead's been around for a while, and I think it's starting to lose its charm. I think we could agree on that.
100%.
And then the other Titan that has been canceled, well, if you consider it a Titan, is Keeping Up with the Kardashians. is going to
Thank
end
God.
after 20 seasons and 14 years. This is a, if the Walking Dead ending wasn't well deserved, this one is. Get this god awful show off of TV.
Yeah. Thank God. Long overdue, man.
Unreal.
I don't know how you guys feel about the Kardashians, but I actually strongly dislike them. I'm not even neutral. Like, I really don't like the Kardashians.
I'm 1,000% with you on that.
I don't really think their show's entertaining. They all are just kind of rich for no reason other than just being
I
rich.
just don't get it. Like, how is
I
that
don't
even
either.
like
How's that entertaining?
fun to watch? Yeah, I don't know.
I
If
feel like
some
it's
people
gotta
are
be-
just so like bored in their life to where they have to like watch drama in somebody else's life, I don't get it. Not my style.
I think it's an
Yeah.
element of voyeurism. I think it's this kind of how the other half lives, how the
Sure,
rich
yeah.
live, and that kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
You guys, we're talking like it's keeping up with keeping up with the Kardashians is the end of the Kardashians. It's insane. They're always going to be around.
Absolutely
Oh,
not.
they're gonna be
Yeah.
around. Oh, yeah. I'm not
Bosses.
saying that. I'm just saying these shows. I don't understand how anybody watches them. It should like do something more productive with your time than watching other
Yeah.
people live stupid
Well,
lives. Like,
Right. I
I'm
mean,
not
we're
saying their
the
lives are
target
stupid. I'm
audience
just
for that
saying the
thing.
show, it just doesn't cover anything that is entertaining to me.
Yeah, for sure. And we're
Yeah.
not the target audience for that thing at
Of
all.
course,
But
yeah.
I mean, I think we all just kind of have the same feelings on the Kardashians, to be honest.
I'm
it's
less
been
I'm less upset
14
with the
years.
show than I am with the kind of influence they have over
Right.
culture
That's true.
and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
art and
And obviously, like
politics
if you
and
Mhm.
that-
if you like
and
the
all of
Kardashians
that.
and if you like the show, like that's not the issue. I don't know. Like what you like, of course, but
Yeah.
I think this is a waste of a show and a waste
Nah,
of entertainment.
don't like that.
Well, maybe it's keeping some good crew people in the Hollywood world employed.
Potentially. Oh yeah, I'm sure it is. It's funny you say that. The Mizzou, so of course, the Missouri School of Journalism, the best journalism school in the country, has one of our
Yeah, that's right.
alumni from our documentary program. It is like one of the creators of the Kardashians, and so he has actually dropped
Oh,
pretty
there you go.
sizable donations to the to the documentary school here. So I guess that's a good thing to come out of the show.
Yeah,
Is,
see, there
I
you go.
might see some benefits from it, but all right. Next news story here: Blind Spotting series based on movie is a go at Stars.
That's good news to me. That's super dope.
Yeah, it's good news. I'm excited, but let me
Yeah.
give you a little bit of a stipulation here. Daveed Diggs is not apparently going to be in it much. if at all.
Yeah, I figured that.
I think he's got better things going on than a
Yeah, for
show at
sure.
Stars. But he is
For
on.
sure.
He is on to, I believe, write and executive. Yeah, he's on to write and executive produce a series. He will just not be starring in it. Rafael
Yeah.
Casal, his best friend, that is the main character in the show, is going to have a recurring role. The main
Playing the
character.
same character?
Yeah, same character. He's gonna have the show revolves around his girlfriend, Ashley.
Oh, she's great.
Yeah,
I figured it was going to take that way.
yeah. So it's about her her and Miles and their son Sean, I believe is his name.
Yeah, because they have that
It's gonna
child.
be them as a middle class family in Oakland trying to make it and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
I'm excited for it. It's a little sad that Daveed Diggs doesn't look like he'll be too much of a part of it because Nathaniel, it's like you said, they had you said during our review how much chemistry they have together, good on-screen chemistry.
Yeah.
And I would really love to see more of that, but I'm still I think Rafael Casal has enough charisma to him, especially in that character that he plays,
For sure.
Definitely.
to carry the show. And what's her face, the actress behind it, Jasmine Cephas Jones. She's really good too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there's enough content there and chemistry between the two of them that they could carry a show for a little bit.
Yeah,
Rafael
I think so.
Casal was in the reboot, the most recent reboot of Are You Afraid of the Dark, which I got thinking
Really?
about recently. And I think he's either like one of the hosts or like the kind of framing device, or he might have been of like one of the main villains or something like that. But I was just odd. And I was thinking about shows that terrified me as a child this week, and that was one of them. I was kind of
I'm
checking
trying
in
to
on
see if I can
Yeah,
find.
I might have to check that out. But as far as the blind spotting, getting a TV show, I mean, that's cool to me. I'm not a big TV show guy, but I'll probably at least try to sit and watch it just because of the message that movie has, and I think that's very timely for like the climate we're in now as a society. So yeah, that's something you can definitely kind of watch and get a lot of messages from, or I'm sure they'll have stuff to do with racial problems with him being in an interracial relationship to being in an inner city in Oakland. You know what I mean? And I think it'll be cool for sure. I'm glad they can kind of continue that.
Yeah, I can read the short description that the story gives from the quote that Casal and Diggs gives. But the series is a continuation of the film and centers on Ashley, who's Jasmine Cephas-Jones, who is nipping at the heels of a middle-class life in Oakland until Miles, Rafael Casal, her partner of 12 years and father of the son, is suddenly incarcerated. She then has to navigate a chaotic and humorous existential crisis when she's forced to move in with Miles's mother and half-sister. So pretty interesting. Yeah, after seeing the movie, you know, that could, I think sets up pretty well for a nice little series. I don't know how long it'll go on. Hopefully they don't drag it out 11 seasons. That's Walking Dead.
I mean, I don't know the quality of it in the long run, you know, but I mean, I think it will at least be a good turn on.
For sure.
Just to kind of see where it's at.
Yeah. All right, and then our last news story today. Diana Rigg, star of The Avengers and Game of Thrones, dies at age 82. So this is kind of a sad one. So she's been around for a long ass time. She played who'd she play in the Avengers? It was Emma Peel.
Yeah, from the TV show.
Show. Yeah, I probably should clarify that. The TV show, The Avengers, the old one from like the late 60s, early 70s, or I think it was early 70s too.
British TV show.
Yep. She played Emma Peel on there, and then she played Lady Olenna Tyrell in Game of Thrones, which
She's
is where
also
I
a
know her
Bond
from.
girl.
Is she?
Yeah, she was a Bond girl in one of the Roger Moore ones, I want to say, maybe. But yeah, most people I think nowadays would know her from
Game of Thrones.
Tyrell from Game of Thrones.
She's got a huge part in Game of Thrones, so I think that's probably where she's most recognizable today. That's how I recognize her. But yeah, definitely, she's got such a storied career.
Yeah, well, that's sad. You know, condolences obviously to her loved ones and her family. So.
Yeah, she died at home. It said in the story, of course, from the Hollywood Reporter that she died at home with her family and everything like that. And like we said a couple weeks ago with the Chadwick Boseman thing, if there's a way to go, you know, surrounded by your loved ones and everything like that. It's great. It's good to hear. All right, that's going to be it for the news here. Let's get on to our trailer talk, guys. We have Dune.
Yes, sir.
Denny V. Denny V.
He's back again.
He's coming back, baby, with Timothée Chalamet, Oscar Isaac, Jason Momoa, what's her face? Zendaya, God, and Batista, right? Is that who that is? In that
they got a loaded lineup for this thing.
It's gonna be.
This has a lot of potential.
Oh, I'm so excited.
This is stacking up to be like just one of those out of this world movies.
Yeah, I think so. Nathaniel, what are your thoughts on this?
I think it looks incredible. Yeah, I think Denny at again the height of his powers. He has such a great visual eye. The cinematography already looks on point. I wonder if that's
just in the trailer.
Again. I haven't checked.
Is it the same one as 2049? Because he's regarded
maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I can look
similar.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, Roger Deakins is definitely up there, but I'm pretty sure he just did like 1917. So I'm pretty sure he's still working pretty consistently. Though I think he had talked about retirement at one point. However,
should be sad. He's so great.
I think this is really interesting, fascinating to watch. I will definitely be there. I really feel like all four of us will be there. Excuse me, I was gonna say the three of you guys plus me, all four of us. We'll all be there, like, you know, opening night. But besides us, like, and the Lynch fans from the last one, like, who is this for? You're not bringing in a bunch of new fans with the Dune franchise tag, you know, and I don't know that general audiences know Denny V the way that, you know, they do a Christopher Nolan, so they can get excited, you know, and like a Tenet or a Tenet fashion.
No, this could be that movie for him.
I agree, and I really hope it is.
If anything, I thought Blade Runner would have been able to do it.
Right, exactly. That's kind of my feelings. Is that I feel like Blade Runner is even better known. So, like, if that wasn't the one for him, and you've got, you know, Harrison Ford, Ryan Gosling, so, I feel like if it wasn't that one, then maybe this one. But I get concerned that he's not going to have the respect that he deserves or be as popular as I want him to be.
Yeah.
In that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I will say, I think.
Ever...
Go ahead. Like, no, you go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think he'll ever get to that blockbuster Christopher Nolan level. You know what I mean? I think in terms of quality,
talent's
I think
there.
we're there. But
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, Nolan
Sorry,
is
go
a
ahead.
monster in the box office.
It's true,
And
but
I
I
just
think
don't think
yeah.
anything Denny V puts out to do that. Like I said, I thought Blade Runner would have been the film to do that. You
Blade
know?
Runner did pretty well.
It did,
no, it
but
didn't.
I think the thing with Blade Runner is
No,
that
it
people
didn't
looked at Blade Runner.
financially.
It didn't
But
financially. I thought it did.
No, it did
I don't think that
horrible
thing does anything close to
No.
the Inceptions, the Interstellars, the
But
you
that's
know
the
what I
thing.
mean?
I think visually it is. That's the
Oh,
thing
I agree.
for me.
Facts.
Like
Facts, yeah.
you know, like when you see when I saw Blade Runner 2049, or when I see like your latest Nolan Mill film or something like that, these guys have even a very similar style to one another in terms of the
Yeah.
scope of their film, and in
They both have huge scale and they play. Yeah.
correct. Yeah, and there's a reason that this trailer opened with Tenet.
Right.
You know, because they are targeting that audience.
Absolutely,
I
the
just don't
same
know.
people.
I just don't know how many more times they're gonna get Denny basically a blank check to make a movie like this or something.
So it looks like Blade Runner 2049 made about 260.5 million worldwide. It had an estimated production budget of between 150 and 185 million. So it made its money back.
Well,
Yeah.
double it for
But it's
marketing.
still, yeah,
Because that's only production.
Okay.
So once you factor in, the general kind of rule of thumb is you double whatever the cost of the budget is for marketing. Whether they did that or not, I don't know. But yeah, I would say if it broke even, it's lucky. Now I think a lot of that was probably made up in DVD sales and downloads, possibly.
Sure.
But
I
even
think
those
I
aren't
think
the
that audience had or the audience that saw that movie had a strong enough reaction to it that
but,
it had some legs.
you know, yeah, I just I'm hopeful. I really hope that they knock this out of the park.
Yeah, Nathaniel,
you know.
I was trying to add on to your point earlier. I let Blake go ahead, but to your point that you don't think audiences will necessarily go see this because Denny doesn't have the big name. I think the thing that'll attract people is, I mean, it's Timothée Chalamet. Everybody, I think he's increasing in popularity by a lot. He's been in so much. He's had Academy nominations. It's Timothée Chalamet. You have Oscar Isaac, who a lot of people know as well, especially from Star Wars. You have Jason Momoa, who's Aquaman. You have Zendaya, who a lot of people love and a lot of people know. You have this huge cast. And then the people like us that know Denny V are going to put that together. But to regular audiences, I think that cast is enough, especially when you show them this trailer and they see all this crazy shit going on. I think that's going to be enough to get at least more people than you probably thought interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to be clear with the listeners before Nathaniel goes real quick. None of us are saying that we think this movie will be bad. I think we all think this movie will be phenomenal. You know what I mean?
We're just talking about the performance of what this will do or who it's for and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I just get concerned with general audiences, and I see what you're saying, Aish, and 100% I'm with you there. But also, Harrison Ford is a bigger star than all of those people combined.
Yeah,
I mean,
yes,
he couldn't pull 2049 up to that kind of level. And if you factor in Ford and Gosling in there, I feel like you equal somewhere there. But again, I'm praying that doesn't happen, but I just don't know. Well, I also don't know how much this costs. So it may be that he made a $60 million movie look like a $350 movie. So
I highly doubt that.
Huge caveat there.
I mean, fuck, I'll tell you guys this. I mean, I was aware of the original Blade. I think Blade Runner is a bigger series than this. I don't even know what the fuck Dune's about, to be honest with you guys. Right? I've never seen the original movie. I don't know the plot of anything.
I don't either.
But I'm sold to see it because I love Denny V.
Right.
Sure.
So I have a hard time thinking most people, like I think what Nathaniel's saying is that if Blade Runner was the one to not do it, I don't know if this one's going to be able to do it either, you know?
That's a much more succinct way of saying what I've been just blathering on about for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, because that makes sense.
No, but
I wouldn't necessarily
it's gonna be
disagree
dope,
with that. I just don't. I still think this is going to do pretty well. I think.
Yeah.
Some general audiences will go.
Fingers crossed.
I fucking hope so.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we obviously hope it does well. We all universally love Denny V.
For sure.
Of course, we wanted to do. Of course,
speaking of that, then real quick, has anyone seen the original Dune?
I have not.
Can you give me like an idea of what I'm looking at?
I haven't honestly watched it in a really long time. I watched it. It was like one of those movies where I was like a kid, and I was kind of like, "What the fuck?" And
yeah, I know there's big worms, and it's based off a book, and I think this might be more of I think this might be more of the book than the original movie is.
It looks
Okay.
like it.
Yeah,
Because
so
it looks
I
like
can
a
read.
Mad Max type thing.
Sure.
I don't know how else
In a
to say
way.
it. Like,
No, I can see how
yeah.
you like it shot kind of like that.
So yeah,
Mhm.
let me read our trusted IMDb description here. Feature adaptation of Frank Herbert's science fiction novel about the son of a noble family entrusted with the protection of the most valuable asset and most vital element in the galaxy.
Yeah, and it's called Spice.
Is it really?
The element is called Spice. I'm pretty sure it's like they're spice miners or something like that.
That's fun.
But the book's like 1,000 pages.
Yeah,
It's
the
this
book
like
is really,
labyrinthine novel that is
Isn't-
like kind of
Yeah.
considered one of these like giant pillars of hard sci-fi,
Mhm.
kind of like sci-fi fantasy thing. And then Lynch actually directed Dune after he was offered one of the Star Wars movies, and he walked onto set and instantly got a migraine, and then walked off and decided that was a sign that he shouldn't do Star Wars. So he did Dune instead.
Hey, more power to him. Which Star Wars was it?
It was either Empire or Return
Yeah,
of the
yeah, it must have
Jedi.
been
I
one of them.
want to say it's Return, but I can't tell you for sure.
Okay, sure. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, yeah, the trailer. What do you guys think of the trailer? It looks cool. You guys in?
Yeah, I mean,
Unless
it
everybody's
looks great.
Yeah, I think it looks really cool. They got some cool effects going on when people are fighting, where they're kind of digitalized almost. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they got some cool effects going on. It stylistically looks great. They got some giant ass set pieces. It looks like, and I can't wait.
Great use of Pink Floyd in the trailer.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. The release date for this, if anybody's wondering, as of now, is set to release on December 18th of 2020. Who
It's
knows if that will get
Christmas.
delayed? Yeah, the Christmas time. But who knows if that will get delayed depending on where theaters are at come December.
Yeah.
Because right now they're
I was gonna
reopening.
say, I think the only way this gets delayed is if theaters start closing again, not because of anything on Dune's.
I think it could get delayed because they want more people to go see it, and they want to make their money back, which is what a lot of people are doing. That's why
Sure.
Disney
So
still has
another film just did that. I can't think of what it was.
You're right. We were talking about it. I think either we talked about it or someone else. Or
I think they
talked
said
about it.
Candyman's doing that as well. Jordan Peele's
Yeah,
one.
Candyman's waiting a year.
Candyman did that. Yeah.
I think they're doing that. I think A24 said that Saint Maud was going to be delayed like indefinitely, but they didn't give a date. But I
really?
think that means that they're not going to put it out
VOD.
till
VOD. Yeah.
That's
That's
always
unfortunate.
Wonder Woman. Wonder
we were
Woman
both
is what
looking
got
forward to
delayed.
that.
I don't remember
Yeah,
where I don't
for sure.
on pod or who I talked to about this, but Wonder Woman got delayed not because of production issues, because they wanted to make more money on the movie.
Yeah. When did they delay that to?
This is when they delayed it the second time. I think they still have a release date for it.
Right.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah. I do remember that early on. It was going to be a like November last year or something like that,
Mhm.
and they
Yeah.
pushed it out to this year, and then it got delayed again from COVID. Yeah, I do remember
Yeah.
that.
Also,
August
real
4th.
quick, I can't remember who it was. It was either Chris Collinsworth or Joe Buck who totally butchered
yeah.
Denny Villeneuve's name on national television
really?
for football.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself. Whichever one of you it was.
How do you say his last name? Is it
Well, okay. I was about to say,
Villeneuve?
I love how Tyler comes after these announcers for mispronouncing his last name, but can't probably do it properly himself.
Or
I
just
bet
call him
he's
Denny
doing
V,
it.
like we do.
yeah.
True. I don't think they're allowed to do that though. They probably have to pronounce the whole thing because people aren't going to know who
Well, you
Denny
didn't
V
pronounce
is.
it right.
Whatever. All right, let's move on. Let's do your new to streaming for the week. So you have Netflix is getting The Devil All the Time. That's going to be Tom Hardy is actually going to be doing that. It's a Netflix
Is
movie.
it Tom Hardy? I'm pretty sure it's Tom, the little kid. Tommy
Holland.
Holland.
Tom Holland.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know where I read that it was Tom
Oh
Tom
man,
Hardy.
you're gonna get tore up.
Oh no. I got corrected because I read the
situation.
No, okay, you're right. No, you're right. It is Tom Holland. I read that wrong. But yeah, Tom Holland.
Arpats.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson and Bill Skarsgård.
Oh, Billy.
Apparently, wait, and Sebastian Stan. Okay, this has actually got a pretty decent cast here. I might actually check this out.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Sebastian Stan.
Jake Gyllenhaal is
That's-
producing.
That's the guy from Avengers, right? Is that Bucky?
Yeah, Winter Soldier. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Bucky. Yep. Directed by Antonio Campos, who has done.
He did something small and indie.
Yeah, he did. The Sinner. It's a TV series he did.
Oh, I've watched an episode of that.
Yeah. Let's see what he directed.
There's something else he did.
The
another
Punisher
movie.
TV series.
There was another movie he did.
Did anyone watch the first season of that? The Punisher?
I've not, but I heard the first season is actually pretty good.
Yeah, I stopped following all those Marvel Netflix shows after.
Oh, I think I watched like half a season of Daredevil. Like I didn't go very far.
Maybe Daredevil season.
Yeah.
Is that the last one, or is it season 4?
I don't remember.
I think it's 3, and I don't even think I finished 3. And that might be 2018.
Mm-hmm.
2018.
All right,
Yeah,
I don't know this guy. I was thinking of someone else.
Okay. Yeah, I kept looking at his IMDb to help you out, but it
Yeah,
doesn't
there's
have it on.
nothing I'm familiar with. My bad.
Well, and then Amazon Prime and Hulu are both getting Gemini Man from 2019,
Right.
the Will Smith.
Great.
I think I'm gonna refuse to just watch that in general.
I heard it was just dog shit.
I heard it was also not worth your time, but I mean it's free, so if you want to watch it,
yeah, I guess if there's ever a time to watch it, it's now.
Yeah, true. And then HBO Max unfortunately doesn't have anything, but Disney Plus is getting Bend It Like Beckham. Have you guys seen this movie?
That's the Keira Knightley one, yeah.
Yeah, it's the soccer one.
Yeah, this film has a really weird cult following.
It does, and I'm kind of part of that cult following. I've seen this movie
I think it was
before.
just way bigger in England than it ever was here.
Oh, it was. Yeah, for sure.
And then it's just kind of weird, kind of like American subculture following behind it.
Yep. Yeah. I don't know why. It's a weird
pre or
movie. I haven't
post
seen it in years.
Pirates?
This is 2002.
So it's just before Pirates 1.
Yeah.
Which I think, so Keira Knightley, I'm pretty sure was like 18 in that one too. So she would have still been like a child actor in this one, theoretically.
Yeah.
Weird.
I honestly might check this out because I haven't seen it in such a long time. But I love this movie.
Yeah,
I remember liking this movie a lot.
Isn't it? It might be about like by the guy that did Love Actually or something like that. Like I feel like there's a weird connection with it.
That you're gonna have to look into because that's too hard of a path for me to follow. Why don't you go ahead and check that out? We can get into what we're watching though if you guys want. So that's all for new to streaming. Tyler, Nathaniel, what have you guys been doing besides winning volleyball championships?
I mean, that was obviously the most important.
Agreed.
Okay.
Man, I don't know. What have I been watching? I was watching some more. I've been keeping up on My Hero Academia, and then we've definitely been cruising through Attack on Titan.
Okay.
Last anime then? Sounds like.
Yeah, for me at least.
Sure.
I apologize. Bend It Like Beckham was directed by Gurinder Chadha, who is a female director from England. So shout out to her.
Right. Shout out to her. Sorry, continue, Ty.
I don't really know if there's like a whole lot. I've been doing a rewatch of New Girl. If you haven't watched New Girl, do yourself a favor.
I might have to check it out, actually. I might have to. There's too many people. I just don't know if it's my type of show or my type of comedy. I don't typically vibe with those kind of shows.
Well, so like I think a lot of people put it in like kind of like the same category as like How I Met Your Mother and and like Friends and so I don't know. I guess that's like really my show that I picked up on that. Like
I hate Friends.
Most.
That's the thing.
I'm not a huge fan of Friends either.
I love How I Met Your Mother, but I hate Friends.
See, like How I Met Your Mother, like I thought it was okay. I never watched it like as it was coming out. Whereas this I did, so I guess maybe that's like the difference. But I just think New Girl is like way funnier, and it's absolutely hilarious, and it's kind of like
I think I have to
romantic
give it a
comedy like TV series guilty pleasure, even though Nathaniel doesn't like that phrase.
I think I have to
one of those.
I've got to at least give the show a shot at this point. I've just heard so much about it that I have to at least try and watch it.
No such thing as a guilty pleasure. I've been mostly watching Attack on Titan. I'm sorry, Tyler, are you done?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think I can remember. I don't know if I watched any movies this week. I feel like this was like one of those weeks that was like really busy again, and it just kind of like
was also busy.
Tyler and I also don't always get to watch a lot of movies together when we're on separate days too, or when we're not both working at the same time. Kind of thing. But yeah, I didn't really watch much movies this week either. I've watched a lot of Attack on Titan, which I'm really enjoying. I'm out of the portion where I knew what happened.
Where you guys at?
I'm in the new stuff. Midway season 3, so we're getting actually close to the end, or close to caught up. But yeah,
and then
really
there's
enjoying
season 4
that.
on the way, right?
Correct. Yeah, I think it's going to get delayed due to COVID, or it has been delayed due to COVID. But it is soonish.
Cool.
My other thing that I've really been doing a lot of is Louis Theroux, which I actually bought a VPN
you
to
kind of
watch.
cut out for me.
Sorry. He's a documentarian called Louis Theroux.
Louis Theroux?
Louis Theroux, yeah. He's
spell that for me.
like Justin Theroux.
First name Louis, last name Theroux.
Yeah. L-O-U.
Okay, I got wait.
Yeah.
Theroux, like Theroux.
O-U-X. Yep. Louis Theroux.
All right. Cool.
Continue. But he's really great. If you've never watched anything with him in it, he's been in the game for a while. He kind of got started on in the early 90s. He's been with BBC Two basically from the start. But he really he's probably most famous for spending a lot of time with the Westboro Baptist Church and kind of just documenting their day-to-day lives. They're the ones who picketed the funerals of the soldiers a few years ago with God hates fags signs and all that kind of crazy stuff. And then he did the Scientology movie and that kind of thing. But he's got a lot. He has. He's been around for a minute. But it
starts with Louis Theroux, this.
I'm sorry?
All of his stuff, at least a lot of it, is Louis Theroux,
social
science, Louis Theroux, law and disorder in Lagos.
Yeah, they started using his name at some point, because I think it just started with Louis Theroux's Weird Weekends, and then it just kind of spun off from there.
Yeah, it kind of started with
Yeah.
You're
but
right.
He always kind of looks at just different subcultures or folks that have been marginalized or something like that. And he's really kind of good at getting people to just talk and have a really kind of human relation with them, and then just kind of ask very not necessarily non-committal but open-ended questions, and also challenges people when they aren't necessarily used to being challenged too much.
Yeah, which is, as a journalism major, great journalism.
Yes, sorely needed at the moment.
Sorely needed. Yeah, of course.
So I do really encourage everyone to watch him. He's probably one of my favorite interviewers to watch. Unfortunately, it is kind of difficult to get his stuff in America because it is, like I said, property of the BBC, which is a British Broadcasting Corporation. They're pretty strict with that kind of stuff. I got a VPN. If you use a VPN, it's all on British Netflix for the most part, or BBC iPlayer. So you can get those pretty easily. Or if not, you can always get it on Amazon, or you can find other ways to stream it.
I might have to find a way to watch this. This sounds really good.
Definitely recommend the Westboro Baptist Church series. So there's 3 of those. We did one in 1999, I want to say, or excuse me, I think like 2002, 2006, 2010, and 2019 or something like that. But he kind of checks in with the family each time. Encourage you to watch the My Scientology movie, or the Louis and the Nazis, which is one of his early kind of like 2000s one. But yeah, just awesome. So
yeah, so he's got a 2007 one called The Most Hated Family in America.
Yeah, so that's the original. Yeah, that's the original. And then it's I think 2013 or something like that, like Return to the Most Hated Family. And then the last one, which came out in 2019, was Surviving America's Most Hated Family.
Yeah, so it's like 2011 is America's Most Hated Family in Crisis.
Yes, that's the second one.
And looking for this last one, you said it came out last year?
Yep. It's like, if you're on IMDb, it's like 3rd or 4th one down.
Okay, I'm looking on IMDb. Surviving America's Most Hated Family. That one's just what lost me there. Is the other 2? It didn't have Louis Theroux in front of it.
Yep.
This one
does. So yeah, he does about 3 or 4 a year, and they're all about an hour each. But definitely recommend. Big ol' recommend from Nathaniel. So.
Yeah, no, I honestly might go check these out, because as I've said, I think 2 or 3 episodes in a row, I want to get back into documentaries, or at least go on like a documentary binge. I just still haven't yet. Been busy. All right. Anything else, Nathaniel?
I watched the first part of Haunting of Hill House this morning.
Ooh.
Kind of going back through that again. I found out
first
that
season.
the next one's only going to be 3 episodes, which I'm kind of bummed about.
No.
Bly Manor one?
Yeah, the Bly Manor one's going to be 3 episodes, and unfortunately for me and
What are
you,
they, an
Blake,
hour
only one of
apiece?
them is directed by Mike Flanagan.
Ooh.
Man.
I think the other
Ooh.
2 are directed by either one of his friends or another guy.
I
But
can
I think he's writing
see
all of them.
I can see and
but-
feel the enthusiasm just draining out of Blake right now.
Yeah, that's tough. That's not what I wanted to hear at all.
It's still gonna be his show, and it's still, I think, his writing and that kind of thing. But
Okay.
yeah, I did see that. So we'll see. Hopefully, it's just because I only know about it because I was actually looking on IMDb about it earlier today, and those are the only ones they have. There's only 3 entries for those episodes, so maybe
Mhm.
there's more. But and we'll see though.
Okay.
All right. Blake, what you been up to, bud?
Not much, man. I'm here. I'm trying to pull some up right now. Pretty, I guess, short week with the holiday on Monday. So I got a chance to watch a few things. Like I said, started watching a ton of football. Kicked off last week.
Yep.
Watching a ton of that. NBA playoffs as well. But movie wise, I did get a chance to finish session 9. So
Okay.
I did get that. So I
no.
restarted that from the jump. And that's pretty good. Really, really good slow burn. And that's actually that's directed
is the
by
one-
a Brad Anderson. Yeah, that's the one with
this
that
is the one where
asbestos
it's
crew.
the asbestos crew in the mental hospital that's cleaning shit
Yeah.
out, and then weird shit starts happening.
Yeah, so they're assigned to renovate this mental hospital, right, on like a 2-week job or so, 2 or 1 week job. And one of the workers there, he finds a staff only room that he's subject to renovate, and he finds tapes of past, I guess, patients is the correct word.
Like patient
And-
interviews or patient
yeah.
or like their sessions and stuff like that.
Yeah, with therapists. And they're going through some therapy. I forgot what it was. But it was thought that would reveal trauma from people's childhood. So he ends up listening to this one lady's tape, and she has DID. So that's a personality disorder. For anyone who doesn't know what that is.
Gotcha.
And so she has 3 different personalities, and the therapist is trying to get her to figure out or speak to the different personalities to figure out kind of what goes on. So the story, you learn the story of this woman who has DID through the character listening to tapes as they're cleaning. So it's pretty interesting. And then obviously once they kind of listen to the tapes, that starts to mess with his head, and some things start to go on. But it's good. It's very interesting, especially if you're into horror. There's no
what's that streaming on again? Do you know?
Netflix. There's no
Netflix,
cheap
okay.
jump scares or anything like that. It's pretty good. And that's directed by a Brad Anderson. So I'm looking on here. It looks like he did Fractured. So that's one that came out on Netflix, I think last year, I believe. And that's got Sam Worthington. So he's in that one. And I'm trying to think, what else has he done? I think we mentioned The Sinner earlier when you're talking about TV shows. I think he's done something on there as well.
Gotcha.
That's kind of all I see notable on his IMDb. But yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents on that one. Pretty good. And then also I went back, and for the second time I watched Annihilation.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't
And
seen that.
that's good.
Yeah, I should
Yeah,
go.
Alex
go watch
Garland. Alex Garland's another one of those guys. He's pretty damn good.
Yeah, so he's done that. He's done the 28 Days Later.
Hey, I think he wrote those, right?
Yeah.
He did Annihilation, Ex Machina. He
That's
wrote
something he did. Ex Machina.
28. He wrote 28 Days Later, and I want to say he wrote 28 Weeks Later too. He's in, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, he's one of the ones that there's always rumors he kind of directed more of 28 Weeks Later than folks.
I like
thought.
the second one. I like the
second
Weeks
one's
better than
excellent.
Days. Yeah.
They're both really, really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's always been kind of rumors that he kind of did more on that film than was initially reported. But yeah, he's awesome. I think he had a TV show that came out not too long ago that devs on FX, which I never got to watch, but I'm definitely.
Yeah, I might see if I can find a TV show by him. But nonetheless, yeah. So I watched Annihilation for the second time. I actually own that on Vudu. Bought that in a pack where you got Annihilation and Arrival. It was like $20.
There you go.
So not too bad. I bought that maybe a few months back. But yeah, this movie it still holds up really well. Granted, it's only 2 years old, but it's a really good sci-fi one. I think for the people who like sci-fi, and it's ironic because it's our number one on our Entropy list with it being Arrival. But if that's a little too slow for you, I think this would fit you much more in Annihilation. And that's just because it's got some more traditional kind of like horror sci-fi elements in it. You know, the ending on that's really interesting where she comes across like that alien being thing that like mimics her. If you've seen it, you know, Nathaniel's nodding his head, so he knows what I'm talking about. So yeah, so that's pretty creepy. And
some existential horror there.
Yeah.
The bear scene
and then
for me.
I was gonna say, and my favorite scene from that is the bear scene. And that scene, even on second watch, that scene is still so creepy.
Yeah,
that's by far and away the best scene in that movie. So the play on that one is, yeah, for sure, dude, without a doubt. So yeah, Annihilation, if you haven't seen it, there's like some sort of meteor that hits this lighthouse, and it gives off some sort of reaction of like fraction in cells and stuff. It's really interesting. So they're trying to figure out, military trying to figure out what's going on, and they're like, okay, let's get a team of scientists. And they get these four. Sorry, was that me?
No, that was some horn outside our apartment. If the listeners can just pick that up, yeah, it just sounded like someone bleeped out a swear word on something.
So
I can do that. You want me to start bleeping swear words out?
Oh,
that's actually almost funnier. Yeah,
Blake.
I lost my train of thought.
You're talking about Annihilation. So there's this kind of rift in the army is sending in scientists to kind of find out what's going on with it. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So they send troops first and nobody's really returning. So then they find this group of scientists and it's all female cast. So it's got some stuff going for that. So too as well. And they're all kind of mentally distraught in their own way because anybody who's gone into this bubble has not returned. So all these people are already pretty much okay with knowing it's a suicide mission. So you kind of learn their characters while they're in there, figuring out why they are okay with it being a suicide mission. While the whole time being they're learning that this cell thing has a reflection of like DNA, where you can start to see like plants start to have human DNA and
big old jumble.
Yeah, it's really confusing. And second watch it makes more sense, and then they kind of hit it home at the end. But the bear scene is really good because, like I said, this bubble reflects DNA and cells. So there was a bear in there that ends up killing one of the scientists. And in killing her, the bear gets her DNA, right? So when the bear screams...
Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much of this movie. So.
It's really good, though. But when the bear screams, it's her voice. Because it has her DNA, so they go to check on her, and it's a fucking bear. It's really good, dude. But
sure,
that's my 2 cents.
And I'm not too mad at you myself. I just don't want to piss off any listeners who haven't maybe seen this movie.
No, all good. But yeah, that's it. Sorry, I went kind of on a rant on Annihilation. I love that movie.
Yeah, no, that's good, man.
Yeah,
it's worth it, man.
Yeah,
I need to check that out.
Yeah, so that's it. And that's
unfortunately, it's not streaming anywhere too easily, so I'd have to go.
Really? It was on Hulu for a very long time.
Right now, it's on.
Is it not on there anymore?
I just had it up. It's not on Hulu anymore.
Australian Netflix. So if you have a VPN, it's on Australian Netflix.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. All right.
Adam, what about you?
All right. Oh, Blake, are you good? You were saying something that I cut you off.
No, that's it, man. That's all I watched. Session 9 Annihilation. 2 thumbs up.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I've been still chugging along with Korra a little bit. I finished season 2. I'm on to season 3.
Dope.
Still loving it. You guys said season 2, and what I've heard from other people who watch Korra saying season 2 is probably the worst of the 4. But I still really liked it. I thought the stuff where they introduced how the first Avatar came to be with Avatar 1.
The turtles.
The turtles, yeah, the lion turtles. All that stuff is really cool. The villain was kind of meh, but yeah, I'm still loving that show. Still liking it more than Avatar, and the 3rd season's ramping up pretty quickly, and I'm liking it a lot. So gonna keep going with that. other show I watched a couple episodes of this week is Forged in Fire, which I mentioned before. But
Let's
still
go.
chugging along with that, baby. Yeah, we love that show. It's great. I love it. My buddies, some of my frat brothers and I would just gather in the room and watch. I had a group of like 4 or 5 all watching Forged in Fire, and we're also playing that game where you have to pick one guy at a certain point in the show, and if you pick yours, you win.
It made an excellent drinking game, that show.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
it would make a great drinking game. We got to work on that. Not that I drink. I am 20. Not that I drink. When I turn 21, that'd make a great drinking game.
Anytime anyone goes
That's a good answer, Adam.
a double
Yeah,
quench,
I'll
you
start
have
working
to down your drink.
Yeah, yeah. I was watching that. The other thing is that I also mentioned last week, but have continued to watch this week is the U.S. Open.
Mhm.
So that just finished up tonight, actually.
I was gonna say, yeah, wasn't that? I know the ladies
finished
was
up
last
tonight.
night.
Yeah, so the women's finals was yesterday. Naomi Osaka took that home, and I was rooting for her because I like her a lot. That's her 3rd slam at age 22, so she's really good. She's a real deal.
Must be nice.
Yeah, it must be nice. Yeah, $3 million prize or $3 million for winning it. And then today, Dominic Thiem took the men's championship. Though he played Zverev, 2 players who have been on the come up for a good 2 or 3 years. They've been at the top of the. I was telling this to Blake earlier. Off pod, but past 2 or 3 years they've been on the come up. I've been kind of watching them to win a few. I've been kind of rooting for them, but they keep every time in a Grand Slam they'll run into Nadal, Djokovic, or Federer in like the quarterfinals or the semifinals or whatever. Or Dominic Thiem, this was his 3rd Grand Final. He run into Nadal, the French Open, twice, and has lost both times. But they keep running into the big 3 that are still playing: Djokovic, Nadal, and Federer, and just losing because they're just still so good, all 3 of them. But finally, I mean, you have Nadal and Federer taking their absence from the major, and Djokovic, like we talked about last week, getting defaulted. So finally a chance for them to take a title. Dominic Thiem ended up doing it in 5 sets, won in the 5th set tiebreak.
Is Andy Murray retired?
Crazy match. He actually played in the U.S. Open this year. He was like the big 4 they were considered. It was Djokovic,
he was really good for
Nadal, and Andy Murray. He got injured. He had a hip injury and just hasn't been able to recover. He's got metal in his hip now, and so he's been trying to recover for a good 1.5 years, 2 years. Just hasn't been able to. Nadal did the same thing. Nadal and Djokovic actually both had injuries that they were out for a good 1.5 to 2 years, but both of them were able to come back. Nadal disappeared for a while.
Nadal like broke his knees or some shit like that, right? Like he was
Nadal had to. I think it was elbow. I think Nadal had elbow issue. I don't remember, to be honest. So I could be speaking on my ass. Yeah, usually the joints with the tennis players. So yeah,
my old tennis elbow.
The old I could tell you all about tennis elbow. It's not fun, but yeah, Murray just hasn't been able to bounce back the way the other ones did.
Gotcha.
Especially because this is going really into it. I'll end this tennis talk here soon because I don't know how many people care. Murray was such a defensive player where he would just run across the court and get everything back, and eventually would just win the point by getting every single ball back. And you just can't really do that when you have metal in your hip and can't move as well. So that's why he hasn't been able to perform as well. So I think he won. I think he won the 1st round and lost in the 2nd in the U.S. Open.
For sure.
Yeah. And then the last thing I watched, which I should have mentioned last week because I did technically watch it last week, was for my class. We watched Crash. So that psychology class, psychology movie class that I mentioned 2 episodes ago. I forgot to mention what movie we watched last week, but we watched Crash last week. We didn't have a class because we watched the movies on Monday. We didn't have class for Labor Day, so we didn't have one this past week. But last week we watched Crash and I watched that for the first time.
What did you think?
What'd you think?
Sorry, I had to take a deep breath. Thought it was good. I liked it a lot. Really hadn't even heard of it until she said we were watching it, and then I pulled it up. But I thought it was pretty good. Putting myself in it came out in I believe 2003 or 4, one of those 2, right after kind of pretty much right after 9/11 is what the setting for that is. That's what it deals with a lot, is the racial tensions between different races and the stereotypes and everything like that. I liked it a lot. Had no expectations really going in, and came out liking it and thinking it was pretty solid overall. Terrence Howard's good in that. The girl from Westworld, I forgot. What'd you say?
I said that's Paul Haggis. I want to say directed it.
Let me look this up. Let me pull the IMDb.
You talk about Tandy Newton though.
Yeah. I went from
famously controversial Oscar winner, Crash, because that was the year it was up against Brokeback Mountain that year. And
I saw it got nominated for Best Picture. Did it win?
It won Best Picture, yeah, and
Did it
everyone
really?
kind of considered Brokeback to be the better movie, and Crash
Like Shape of Water? Shape of Water scenario?
No, Shape of Water kind of just won because I think it was a pretty weak year.
It
and
was a
like
weak
it was
year.
just kind of the best film that came out.
Yeah.
Crash it felt much more like it was like um I mean I was 11 at the time, so I don't really know what to talk, but this is kind of the consensus that I got at the time was that Brokeback Mountain was considered the far better film, but that Crash one still kind of represented the Academy's unwillingness to kind of reward a gay film or a film about gay love
Gotcha.
and that kind of thing. So it was kind of
Sounds like
it was pretty
sounds like the
controversial at the time.
sounds like the Academy. Sounds like something you do.
Yeah, exactly right. You know, from everything we know about them. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
So that's all I've been watching. We can move on here to the main segment. We're only an hour into the podcast and we're already yeah, so Tenet. Actually, before we get to Tenet though, Nathaniel, why don't you give us the listeners a rundown if they're new of our
If
of
this
our
is your
review
first
segment.
time listening to Back Row Banter, welcome. Hello. Thank you. Thank you for putting up with us for so far. But what we're going to do now is kind of our main review segment. The way this kind of works is I will introduce the movie, tell you kind of what year it came out, directors, cast, all that kind of stuff. Then we'll read the plot summary of the movie. It always comes from IMDb. They are kind of famously terse, let's say, or short. But then we'll kind of describe it a little bit more, talk about our first kind of reactions from it. Everyone will go around and say whether or not they recommend the movie. It has to be a binary choice, yes or no, because there's no nuance on the internet. And from then, we'll go into full spoilers, talk about if there is any kind of plot summary left, what we'll go through with that. And again, just kind of really delve into our big, deep points on the movie. And then after that, we'll welcome you listeners back if you don't want to be spoiled. We will actually break it down in there in time codes so you can know spoiler-free section and then spoiler section. And we'll welcome you guys back for see where this guy ranks on our entropy list. And then we'll close out the show.
All right. Why don't you go ahead and give us our non-spoiler plot summary?
So yeah, this is Tenet or Tenet, if you're me and can't pronounce it, but it's definitely Tenet in the movie. It's Christopher Nolan's new movie. If you've been listening to us, you've probably heard us talk about this at some point.
Yeah,
but
we've
it
mentioned
stars
it a lot.
John David Washington, who listeners might know from probably most likely Black Klansman from a few years ago.
Yep.
He is Denzel Washington's kid, but he is a great actor in his own right. Old Arpats is in there, as well as Elizabeth Debicki. She's kind of the other. I would say she's almost a lead in this. She's pretty. She's definitely a supporting actress, but she's
she's one of the main characters. Yeah, she's up there. She has about the same amount of screen time as Ron Pattinson, I would say.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit less, but she's got a lot.
Main villains played by Kenneth Branagh. Always fun to see, which I did not know was in this movie until we were watching it. So I was pretty excited about that. But the plot summary on IMDb goes like this: armed with only one word, Tenet, and fighting for the survival of the entire world, a protagonist journeys through a twilight world of international espionage on a mission that will unfold in something beyond real time. And that summary makes about as much sense as the movie. So if you can follow that,
if you're confused with that summary, we're also still confused with the summary.
But yeah, so basically you follow John David Washington's character as he kind of moves on into this spy world of code words and unnamed people trying to kill him. And his whole kind of goal is to basically find out what's going on and how to stop the end of the world. And we know it has something to do with reverse bullet technology or reversing objects in space. And that's really all you can kind of and that's really all you can kind of talk about without going too far into spoilers.
I would say if you want a quick little description, the best thing I could say is it's James Bond with time travel. Would you guys like to agree with that, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
no
kind
way you
of
can
not too
think
far
of it
off.
in a sentence. Yeah, that's as close as you can get.
the kind of main like minute summary is basically this is Nolan's Bond film. Like this is Nolan does Bond.
Yeah.
So
which is totally fair to say. That's
that's very applicable.
Mhm. Fair.
For sure.
Let's go. Let's get some impressions going here. Ty, you want to go first here, bud? Those are, you know what? Those two that's what I thought walking out of the theater.
Yeah, so
like,
I'm not mad at it. It's definitely not my favorite movie in the whole wide world. It's one of those movies where you almost have to like say to yourself like, I gotta go see that again, but not because I want to.
Yeah,
but because if I'm gonna make any sense of it, I kind of have to.
Yeah. If I want to like what I saw the first time, I must go see it a second time. That's basically
So I don't know. I definitely recommend it. It's worth a watch. It's a cool film. It's not like a bad film. But I'd say for me, it's one of those things that you could probably wait for to come directly to you. You don't necessarily have to go and see it.
Blake,
but yeah,
I recommend. You recommend? Okay. Like what's up with you here, bud? You've seen it twice. How many times have you seen it? Because you also said you might go see it a third time.
I saw it twice. I didn't get to see it a third time. So first time was with Nathaniel and Tyler. Then I went the following weekend with my dad. And like I said last episode, that even what Tyler was just saying, a second viewing does help a lot.
Does it? Okay.
Where like you can certainly dissect the first half of that film much better.
Okay.
Know what's going on, you know what I mean? Because on first watch, you're just like, what the fuck am I watching?
Blake, just so you know, you're either move your mic a little bit closer to your mouth. You're cutting out a little bit. I think it's mainly just you're good.
I'm sorry. Yeah, so I would say I like it. Thumbs up for sure. Does it need a second or third viewing? I would say yes, if you really want to get anything out of it. But I think you'll certainly walk away with a million questions. And to me, that's a pretty good movie.
Nathaniel.
What? Why are we laughing?
Because I'm waiting. I want to know what you have to say about this.
I think
movie.
you can just see your face and you just have like this look
I just know,
I don't know what I'm
when Nathaniel is
now.
silent, it means he has a lot to say. And he hasn't said or interrupted Tyler or Blake, which is the first time it's happened in first impression.
Yeah, he might eat this thing up.
So
we'll see.
Okay.
But this is
Nathaniel?
all a movie that we have fairly recently seen without one another. Like nobody's seen this like 5 years before the other person has. So
this is all. Yeah, this is actually
brand new for all of us.
This is an American Pickle situation where this is probably our first time watching it because it's a new release.
Absolutely.
And Project Power.
I think we got right, and like we said, we hit the nail on the head. It's definitely Nolan does Bond. I think I agree with Tyler. It's not my favorite Nolan movie. It's not even probably in the top 3 of my favorite Nolan movies.
Yeah, I would agree.
I also agree with Blake in that it definitely needs a second viewing. However,
Tyler. So I asked Tyler in a group chat. Tyler, you haven't gone and seen it a second time. Nathaniel, did you get a chance to see it a second time?
No, I have not. No,
okay.
I haven't.
So all right. So me, just so viewers know, me, Tyler, and Nathaniel have only seen it once, even though we're saying we should see it a second time.
Yeah, and it was a little while ago too. So it's been we caught an early showing as well. Yeah, from just because of A-list, which go get it if you're near an AMC, need A-list.
There you
go. There's a certain point in this movie where I was kind of like, man, I am not catching a lot of this. And that was frustrating. But the more I kind of sat with it, the more I kind of realized that it wasn't really my not catching all of the minutia and all of the plot or the why things was not affecting my enjoyment of what was happening on screen.
Right.
It enters this almost silent film style language at a certain point in the film where you're just kind of there to just enjoy yourself. And I've been thinking about this a lot afterwards, and I may go more into a bit in after plots or after the recommendation, after the jump here. But I think in particular with Nolan, and then even with like a direct, they've
1 second, Nathaniel. You're the same thing with Blake earlier. You're cutting out a little bit. Maybe move the mic closer to your mouth.
I said, well, for a clean one, then it's similar to
Sure.
Nolan, and maybe also with Denny V. I think their films almost become versed in their particular filmic language. So you and Tarantino is the same thing. Tarantino is maybe the best example of.
Sure.
Particularly with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because one of the main criticisms when that movie came out was it's so Tarantino. It's so over the top and so self-indulgent and so kind of drawn out. And those are the things we love about him. But and similarly with Nolan too, he always has this kind of fascination with clockwork. There's always this kind of reverse time. These bits that you're going to get with the Nolan film. And at a certain point, you just kind of don't you don't have to know exactly what the plot is. You're just there to sit and enjoy. And I think that's something that's established with the guys like us who have watched Nolan films, the Batman trilogy and and Memento and Inception and Interstellar and that kind of thing. A lot of I words for Chris. And so we have that kind of language. But if this was your first Christopher Nolan movie, I think you would hate it. If this was your first movie back to movie theaters or something like that, I think you're really very gonna dislike it. Wow, that was a really poor sentence. You're really gonna dislike that. But for me, personally, big recommend. Enjoyed it, loved it. Just not my favorite Nolan movie.
Yeah.
Adam?
I agree with a lot of what you had to say, Nathaniel. You're right. Nathaniel, you hit it on the head again, where it's like halfway through this movie, or at some point in this movie, I just stopped. I just gave up trying to understand every single thing that was going on because it was just impossible to. I couldn't hear. This is something you guys said last week, either off or on pod.
Yeah,
I couldn't hear some of what was going on, or some of what was being said in the movie. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's intentional. I don't know if it's just bad sound mixing. I don't know what it was, but I need to watch this movie with sound subtitles on.
Yeah, with that, not to cut you off real quick, but nonetheless, when I went to go see it with my dad, so on second viewing, and maybe you might not have had it at your theater, for being like in a smaller town, but they did have it with subtitles as well.
They had an option with subtitles.
They had an option for subtitles, yeah, and I'm sure a lot of that was because off first release, people were like, "I don't know what the fuck they're saying."
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I would love to go see a viewing like that. I don't think I have that option, but I would love that's great. I love that. If you listeners, if you're planning on going and see this, go find a viewing with subtitles if that's a thing about you.
So Nolan doesn't do ADR. So if you're not a big film guy or too familiar with the production process, you may not know this, but 99% of the time in films, what you are hearing is recorded after in terms of dialogue. So they will do scenes, record the actors speaking, and then if it's hard to hear or there's a car that drives by or something like that, they will re-record the dialogue and then insert it over the scenes.
Is it really 99%?
90, that high? Probably. Okay. Yeah.
I knew they did a lot of it. I didn't think it was that high though.
Yeah, it's very, very common. Okay. I'm being a little hyperbolic.
I knew, like I said, I knew it was common. I just didn't know it was that much.
Yeah, just about every film has it in it. Nolan never does this because Nolan believes that once, and this is partially why we love him because he's kind of a lunatic, but Nolan believes that when you re-record over someone like that, you are losing something of the performance of the actors. So he never does ADR. That in combination with this kind of large, bombastic audio style that he has developed over the last few years, that's really kind of felt like it took off with The Dark Knight and Tenet, makes it incredibly hard to hear dialogue. Yeah. What did I say?
You said Dark Knight and Tenet.
Yeah. Dark Knight and Inception. Makes it incredibly hard to hear dialogue, particularly in this film. I first noticed it getting really bad in Interstellar. It's even worse in this movie.
Yeah.
It's very bad.
To the point that you do need if you were comfortable without watching subtitles, I would say you can watch it with subtitles. It's not game breaking, but it's close.
It is, yeah, it's close. It's to the point, like I said, where it's just so hard to get every detail of what's going on that you kind of just have to start saying to yourself, "Oh, okay, I think this is what's happening. I'm just gonna go with that." Kind of.
Mhm.
I don't know the exact details, but I could tell. Oh, this person's not the arms dealer. It's arms dealer. It's her. I don't know really how she
Yeah.
knows this guy, but she does, and so you
Yeah.
kind of just have to go along with it, and eventually just if that bothers you, you have to let it stop bothering you because it bothers me. I just
Yeah.
feel like kind of stupid
And-
when I don't
and-
understand what's
Yeah,
going on.
it's just loud as fuck.
Yeah, and like Tyler was saying, it's like in a lot of those scenes where it's too loud to hear anything, those are the scenes where like it's so much exposition that's shit you need to hear. You know what I mean? So it's like they're walking in town and she's like, well, technically I got the bullets from this guy and this guy and this, you know what I mean? And you don't know what she's saying. And it's so
that's a good
frustrating.
point. That's a good point that it's happening during exposition because I feel like in other Nolan films you do have a lot of loud sound and sound mixing and music, but it's not at the times where you need to be hearing what's being said, so it's a little bit more acceptable there. At this point in this movie, it just really from the beginning to the end has some kind of noise going on with it that is overwhelming. And I think that's the problem is that it's stepping on itself.
Mhm.
But we're getting kind of out into the weeds a little bit. Should we just
Sure.
go
Yeah, honestly, we probably should state a lot of that for the spoilers, but I'll finish off the rest of my thoughts real quick. Overall, very confusing movie. Definitely requires probably a second or even maybe third watching to grasp it all. But I've been thinking about it so much, and I even had an hour-long conversation with my brother who also saw it, and we kind of just came to the conclusion that this movie, no matter which way you kind of look at it, there's fundamental things wrong with it, and I just don't know if it's ever going to make sense to me.
Yeah.
So that's what I'll say. Do I recommend it? I honestly will say yes. I enjoyed what I watched. But there are parts of it I wish I enjoyed it more, and I'll get into that a little bit more later. But overall, I would say the binary recommendation is yes. I would recommend it. Blake, would you say was your recommendation?
Yeah, I'd recommend it for sure.
Recommend it. Ty, you said you would.
Yeah.
Nathaniel,
I will also recommend this. I think a little bit more firmly than the other folks here.
Okay.
But yeah, I definitely am firmly in the recommend.
All right, well, that's 4 recommends around, so go ahead and give that a watch. We're going to head into our spoiler talk now, so check the description if you have not seen Tenet yet, which probably a lot of you have not. Go ahead and watch it, and then come back if you want to hear the spoilers. But if you just want to skip over the spoilers, I will put the timestamp in the description, so go ahead and skip to whatever time is listed down there. Without further ado, though, Nathaniel, why don't you fill in the gaps a little bit? Honestly, you know what? I will say this. Yeah, I will say this. If you haven't watched this movie and you're going to try to listen to the spoilers, it's going to make no sense. Yeah. So let's just give a brief description because we're going to assume that you've seen this movie to listen to us talk about it.
Yeah, the central conceit is that they are starting to come across matter that is moving in the opposite direction in time. And so far, I think at the start of the film, it's mostly just been bullets or random objects and that kind of thing. But around the midpoint, they track this down to an arms dealer somewhere in Europe, and they decide that he's got to have some sort of source of information. His wife is the Elizabeth Debicki, who is very unhappy, and who John David Washington is trying to semi-rescue her and her son and trying to use them as his access point to getting to Kenneth Branagh's character. But basically it all builds to this kind of moment where there's a locking mechanism where if you go on one side, you come out the other side going in reverse, basically, through time. And that builds to essentially a fight at the end of the film that is that has 2 teams coming in at it from different directions.
Yeah,
Directions
some are
in time.
inverted and some are in regular time.
Yeah, in this kind of giant complex, and that's really where the film is designed to take place. And again, like we've kind of been alluding to, until you get to that kind of lock room mechanism scene, you really are having a hard time kind of following what's going on in the film. And then it kind of clears itself and you're like, okay, I understand where this is and that sort of thing. And then once you get to the actual final set piece, in my opinion, I was so kind of just, along for the ride at that point that it was just spectacle and just kind of became this really kind of I just let it wash over me in some ways and just sat back along for the
But I did that as much as I could, even though it still was bothering me that I didn't kind of understand or follow where the movie was going
I
on.
think
So I kind of just had to turn it off and say what I'm watching is cool, and I'll try to figure the rest out later.
I think in the most unpretentious way, I'm in trying to say that the film's dialogue almost doesn't matter, and I don't think it's insignificant that the main character is just known as protagonist, and
Yeah, he
literally
doesn't have a
ends
name.
the film screaming, "I am protagonist," or "I am the protagonist," kind of thing. I feel like it becomes almost this like it. I wonder if the point isn't, to when you're talking about the film to your friends or that kind of thing, that you're going to be able to retell the plot to them, but instead it's more like whenever you start to talk about the plot, because it is so labyrinthine, you almost have to involve some sort of emotion with it of I liked it, but, and I wonder if maybe that's a little bit of the point, a little bit. I don't know. It provoked a couple questions in me I thought were interesting.
So Nathaniel, I've thought about I thought about and have talked about. Like I said, I would probably be referencing this conversation I had with my brother, but we talked for an hour and we talked a lot about this movie. But I have thought about and we discussed what you said about this, that kind of being the point of you don't have to understand this movie to enjoy it. And it's even kind of hit. There's a line in the movie early on where the scientist that he talks to that's explaining the inversion to him says, "Don't try to understand it, just try to feel it." And that's kind of what this movie is almost about a little bit, is you don't have to understand everything that's going on to enjoy it. The problem for me with that is I don't see that being the point of this. I don't see that being the point of a movie in a time travel movie. Like, it didn't play into that enough of just kind of enjoy to convince me to do that. It still tried to have all of these different plot lines connect and have all of, like, you have the whole thing with Robert Pattinson coming back and being and then the protagonist was the one who hired him, all that stuff. You have all these complex ideas and concepts presented in the plot that it wants you to grasp onto and understand, but then at the same time you're telling me don't grasp onto them. That kind of just conflicts a little bit for me, and I wish they would have, if that was the true goal of the movie, I wanted them to lean into that more or just not do it at all, because this was not the movie to have that be the point.
Yeah, I think there's just going off your point that it's such a big concept for you to try and put into something like a film, and to try and explain this inversion of time with a giant time capsule machine in a warehouse and not being able to explain like how those things got there and what at 2 points did those things actually meet. It's just too big of a concept for me to think that you can explain it through the movie, and I think at some points it hurts it because it's rushed. But even though it was like what 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
yeah.
It didn't feel long though.
No, and I think that's part of the point.
It did move pretty quick. Yeah, it didn't really feel long. They pack a lot into 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I think it's just I probably could have sat there for another hour if my questions were answered, or if some other things that were in the plot were just tied in a little bit better.
I would say
I think there's just some loose ends that are unfortunately left, and it makes it feel rushed, even though it's a 2.5 hour long movie.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a 2.5 hour movie. I would, if they wanted to give me an extra 30 minutes and they said, "Hey, this 30 minutes would make you understand the movie more," oh, by all means, I'm all in. Because it's not that it's like I said earlier, like I still enjoyed what I was watching, and I would happily watch another 30 minutes. And especially if that made the movie make more sense. But it just what they put in the movie and the way they put it in there made no sense, at least from what I have gathered from it and have tried to think about.
Agreed.
Yeah, the biggest thing. You know what, Blake? Why don't you go ahead, because I have some stuff I want to say. Why don't you go ahead and give your little thoughts, the spoiler thoughts on it, because you haven't gone yet.
Yeah, I like it. Is it without its flaws? Absolutely not. Is it Nolan's best film? Absolutely not. But I do agree with all three of you guys saying where it does have its flaws, but it's really watchable. And I think it's really watchable because it has a really big scale, and the cinematography behind it is awesome. And scenes where there's people going forwards and the other people going backwards in time, like that's some of the best I've seen in a while.
Oh yeah, I would agree.
And that, really cool. And just off the top of my head, that highway scene, that's one of the better highway scene I've seen probably since like the Matrix, the second Matrix or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it has that stuff going forward as well. I think Robert Pattinson has a lot of things going for him as well.
I would say out of everybody in this
he
movie,
carries
I think
movie
Robert
really
Pattinson
well.
does. Yeah, I think he carries the movie and gives the best performance.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I think is it John David? I think it's
John
right.
David Washington. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I he does well as well.
He does
but
fine.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I like it. I can't plead my case that it's like the best film I've seen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's certainly a dope fucking watch in movie theater for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I was gonna say earlier, Nathaniel, do you have anything else to say? You started it off, but I just want to make sure you have you can always add stuff in later.
I think,
but
I think. God, I don't even remember what I've said anymore. That's the effect this movie has on you.
Try going backwards.
Yeah, yeah.
You got to be inverted, man.
Yeah, hold on. Let me go. I got that lock in my room. I'll go grab into it. But no, I am. I think my point, my ideas are really just. I also don't think it's without flaws. I also, like I said, I'm not even. There's times when I think about the movie and I'm not even sure that I like it all that much, or I think it's that really good. But as we kind of keep saying, there is this quality about it that is magnetic to watch. It's very strange that it takes a lot of the things that you would typically require from a film as watching this kind of, again, plot that we're used to and characters that we know and dialogue we can hear, and it just kind of says, fuck it, you're gonna watch it anyways. Like, I've kind of got you by the balls, but I'm gonna show you something that's so spectacular and so new that you can't look away, really. And I mean, and like even though I feel like I need to watch the movie again with subtitles, or at least get another rewatch of it in theaters.
Yeah, same.
But like, at the end of the movie, when Pattinson's like, "Nah, this is the end of the beginning of a beautiful friendship."
Yeah,
like I was moved. I felt like I really, that got me. Like, and it's shout out to Casablanca, obviously, and everything. But I just I don't know. It's stuff. I mean, Nolan's still definitely got his faults. He does not write women well. Vicky is not.
We said that last time.
She's a great actress, but her motivations are kind of trash. She feels inserted. The motivations of protagonist around saving her child seems muddied at best.
That seems to be like the driving point of the movie.
So much, it was pissing me off.
Yeah.
At one point, Robert Pattinson's talking about how what's his face, the villain, I forgot the actor's name. Kenneth Branagh. Yeah, he's talking about how Branagh's character is about to just end everybody's existence, end time, and just wipe everybody out. And she goes, "Oh, that includes my son."
Yeah,
you don't have to say that. Yeah, that includes everybody. I understand the fact that you are very concerned about your son. You don't have to tell me 5 times in like an hour and a half. I understand. Right, your one motivating factor is your son. You don't have to keep bringing it up. The world's gonna end. That includes your son. Sorry, I had to say that.
That really feels like a poor editing decision rather than
true. Maybe it was
else. I'm not blaming that on Debicki at all. Like, that feels like,
no, that's not the actor's fault.
You almost wonder if that's
that's either the writing or the editing, and
or even a post production kind of insertion of the maybe audiences will never follow this if they don't know what's going on. So we need to make sure that the emotional attachment is there. Make sure she says, "and my kid." So it's the flaws of Nolan are still there, and any flaws that you are that you had prior to this are only exaggerated in this. So if you didn't like Nolan movies before this, you're not going to like this at all. And if this is, again, your first Nolan movie, I don't think you're going to like it all that much. That being said, there is something about it that you can't look away from the movie the whole time, and it does stick with you. So, Ace, you kind of go on your bits here. If there's anything I disagree with or think I can comment on, I'll jump in.
Yeah, no, of course, jump in. This is kind of more the open conversation part. I just want to make sure everybody got their thoughts in before because I have a lot to say that, and like I said, I'll keep referring to this, but the conversation I had with my brother really opened up a lot about the movie that I kind of want to bring up. The biggest thing that I think this movie falls from is that it never really establishes any rules, and the rules that you either are established or you kind of fill in yourself are then broken again. in Inception, there's about a 15 to 20 minute. It's a pretty long chunk of the movie where they just go through and explain the rules to you, and in preparation for them about to go into the dreamscape. And as much as that is kind of very direct and maybe not good storytelling, it's very necessary for a film like Inception that has a lot of things going on, and it would be very easy to be confused about. It has to have that 15-20 minutes where it explains the rules, because that sets up the rest of the movie, which I think that's excusable, and I think it's necessary, and I like that being in Inception. You would never get that in Tenet. It's that you get explained what inversion is and everything like that, but you never really get exactly what it is. You never really get all of the rules, and so you were given a very baseline understanding of it. You kind of fill in some of the rules yourself, but then it just breaks them. I mean, there are things like when you go back in time, there's no time jumping. So when you are sent backwards in time, you have to spend it. You are spending you're spending a real time amount of time going backwards. Does that make sense? What I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you go backwards, 1 second is still 1 second. So there's no time jumping. So when
You're
someone
not
wants to go back,
time differently.
exactly, you're still experiencing time the same way. So when these characters, some of them are jumping back and forth. For example, the climax of the movie happens where Kenneth Branagh is going over about I think it's about a year backwards in time to a specific day to spend his last day on that day. He's going backwards for a year. That makes no sense because he's going backwards a year to kill himself. So he spends a year alone in a room going backwards only to just end up killing himself. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And it's just like in Robert Pattinson's character, he says at the end, this is the beginning of a very long and beautiful friendship. We assume that they've known each other for years. I think it's actually established that they have already known each other for years, or at least Pattinson has. So that means that Robert Pattinson, at some point in time, whenever he goes back, he has spent years going backwards just alone to show up, to then go forwards. Does that make sense? Like, they never really explain that, and when you think about what these characters are going through, they're spending days, years, or months, and even years going backwards in rooms, and they just cut all of that's not ever really explained. That really bothered me, and it just, there's so many rules that don't make sense, and there are points in this movie where they just cuts and they don't really explain what happened. Like John David Washington, the highway scene, great scene, everything like that, but then when he goes backwards inverted, and then there's a car explosion where he freezes. That's a really cool concept. I love the concept that since everything is inverted, freezing or heat is cold, and so the explosion causes him to get hypothermia. I love that. That's a really cool concept. Everything. But he gets in that, the Branagh lights the fire, he gets in that explosion, and then he's in the middle of the highway and wakes up with Robert Pattinson. He's like, oh, you survived an explosion for the first time by getting hypothermia. How did he survive the explosion? Who went back to rescue him?
I agree with you on that.
Stuff like that. Like there's a few other times, I mean, I'm not going to go through each one, but there's a few other times where it's small inconsistencies like that keep building up. And that's what I'm talking about with the rules being broken is at a certain point, I don't believe anything is making sense because there are no rules and they're not being followed. And so at that point, anything can happen in this movie, and it just gets annoying. I think a point that I brought up to my brother is that it felt like Nolan had this really, really cool concept, because it's such a unique take on time travel. Instead of jumping in time, you are going backwards in time while everything else is going forward. That's such a unique take. Like, that's a really cool concept. But Nolan, I feel like he started writing this movie and got so lost himself, he kind of just said, fuck it. Like, that's kind of just what it felt like. He said, fuck it, we're just going to go with it. And that to me is just not, that's a fundamental flaw of the movie. And this movie does have so many of those fundamental flaws that it kind of ruins the actual quality of the movie. That being said, it's like we talked about, there's something about this movie that makes it entertaining to watch. But when you break it down from a fundamental standpoint, it has way too many flaws to be considered a good fundamental film, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like if you look at reviews of this thing, like there are like a lot of people that are just trashing it. And I think a lot of it drives from that fundamental part of it that you kind of almost have to drag yourself out of. Like, there's a lot of fun concepts here, right? Like Tenet.
There is.
It's a palindrome. Is that what those are?
Wait, really?
Right?
Yeah.
So it's the same exact word, forwards and backwards. And I mean, just right off the bat, it's cool because in the characters' dialogues, this one word can basically tell the other person on whether or not you've been on that plane of time. And it's cool because it's a palindrome, and that's kind of the basis of the movie. It wants you to be able to realize that you can go forwards and backwards, and
So-
it's cool that this one word kind of grounds each character to one another through that one word.
Is that what Tenet is? Is that
What?
just, that's just what there is? What is Tenet? Because it was never really
I think
explained
it's the
fully.
code word.
So it's the
That's
code
it.
word for the time travel. That's it.
Yeah, it's that as well as opera. Because when he's
Well,
sitting with Seder, and
Mhm.
they're,
Opera has more to do with the whole algorithm more stuff, right?
correct. But his
Which is
armed
another
word from
thing.
his captain is Tenet. He's like, I'll
Yeah.
give you one word. It'll
Well,
open
sure.
some doors with some good people and some doors with bad people, or whatever he
The
said.
word tenet, or so like a tenet of a religion or something like that, is a core of something. It's the idea of something. So a tenet of philosophy can be that people are generally good or something like that. So that I think therefore I am. That's it's a tenet of that area. So I think
The definition
they
for
use it
Tenet
almost to refer.
is a principle or belief, especially one of the main principles of a religion or philosophy. So something you
So-
fundamentally believe in, basically.
Correct, and they use the word a little bit differently throughout the film too, because I'm pretty sure they use it almost. They try and fit it into a conversation under the thing like, "Oh, I used to be a tenant there," as in like they used to live there, as in the word tenant. So they kind of actually play with the mispronunciation that we've been kind of messing with for the last few weeks and stuff. But I just think I think that's more where it's coming from, is that the one of the tenets of our physical realm is that we only move forward through it. We don't move reverse. And obviously that can be played with. You can do that in reverse, that kind of thing. So I think that's what the title is.
I like that little explanation there. Something that the algorithms. We need to talk about the algorithms. This is Nolan is better than falling for this, because this is what the third or fourth time you've seen this concept. We saw it in Endgame, saw it in Justice League, saw it in there's another movie recently where they had to collect pieces.
No.
But yeah, yeah, the fetch quest. Let's go back in time, or let's go in these different places, and we got to grab all these things and put them together for a doomsday device. Like, it's getting exhausting, and I feel like there could have
I
been
think
so
that's
many.
a basic ass take. I think you can, if you're
That's not my
fine-
main. That's not
if
my
you're-
main with the movie. That's not my main problem with the movie. But it is still like,
If
I
you're
feel like
upset
no
about
one-
that, you cannot talk about any of the superhero movies in the last few years with the giant.
I'm
big
not.
fucking
No,
white
I'm not.
guy.
No. So I have no problem with the concept. I have no problem with the concept itself. It's the fact that it just keeps being done. And it's the fact that in this movie, Nolan is smarter and could have done so much more with this cool ass concept than a doomsday device and a fetch quest. This is too cool of a concept to have a climax that ends with a fetch quest.
I think
They didn't need that.
I don't know. I disagree. I disagree with the idea that that's what makes the film unsuccessful or anything.
That's
like
that's
that.
not that's not. I'm not saying that's the only
being
reason.
too hard on the level of film that you are, because if you want to break it down to that, then I mean, basically any film is just a journey. You know, the hero's quest is any film.
That's not okay, but I'm not bringing this up as this is why this movie is bad, but it's another thing that on top of all these
You're
other
saying
smaller
that
things.
Nolan's better than that in essence.
I think, yeah, I think it's kind of lazy of Nolan to just.
Well, then
go on
I mean, what do you call
great
Inception then?
They're not fetching anything in Inception. They're going to
Well,
implant an idea. That's a heist.
It's like
dream
yeah,
heist.
okay, then it's a heist movie. Then every heist movie is at its core some sort of.
That's not but
fetch
it's
quest.
a different. It's no, it's two different things. It's okay. We need to assemble all these pieces to get to one. That's not what Inception is. That's not what all these other heist movies is. It's something that I feel like this movie should not have ended with, because this movie is too unique it's too cool of a concept. It's too cool of a time travel idea. It's too unique to end, to have that kind of thing be the climax of it. At least I just feel like there could have been such better things done with this cool ass time concept than let's put all these things together for a doomsday device. We may disagree on this one, Nathaniel, but that's just, to me, that I've seen it before, and I was hoping for more of a unique ending or a unique climax from Nolan.
I don't disagree with the issue being the
the plot retrieval, or the that your issue with the film being that no, I think I'm not gonna make this any clearer.
It is one of those movies, man.
Just trying to go deeper, and you're just like,
you know what?
just no.
No, I just
Nathaniel, I think we'll
disagree
just have to chalk it up to the fact that it bothers me more than it bothers you. I think.
Yeah, I'm
maybe,
cool with
maybe
that.
that's just what it comes down. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Does anybody else? I've talked a lot. I've said a lot. Does anybody have anything else they want to say or comments on or
No,
add?
I think I think my biggest thing is like if you just dig a little deeper, I think there's a lot more here, which is why you have to go see it so many times.
Sure.
And that's why I think it's like one of those things that I think you can wait till it comes to you to be able to access in your home, because you're gonna want to watch it multiple times to figure it out if you do want to figure it out. I don't know if the algorithm is like a way to play on like maybe there's more to this, because he's just holding this like giant camshaft from an engine in his hands at the end of the movie. And like he's just if somebody gave me that, I'd be like, well, what the fuck do I do now?
Also, if it's an algorithm, if it's some kind of like maybe okay, this is not as big of a point or it was big of an issue with the movie, but if it's some type of algorithm implies it's some kind of like code or whatever, like does it have to be in giant physical form, or wouldn't an algorithm
like
okay, yeah, I mean
I think that's
I just want to know where it goes.
I think Nolan's making more of a commentary here. I think he's saying that you can have this basic ass plot, this fetch quest plot, and you can have the character who's so fucking stupid his name is protagonist, and he's literal actual lines of dialogue.
That is funny,
him shouting,
that's his real name.
"I am the protagonist."
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I think Nolan is smart enough to be aware of that. I think his point is saying that film is more than these basic ass plots, and that
which is cool,
and that even this algorithm, which you would think is going to be on a USB drive or some shit like that, no, it's a fucking camshaft, and you're gonna have to deal with it. This is big unwieldy thing, just like the plot of this movie, but that's not the point.
Right? No, I get it, because like if you look further into like Tenet, have you guys ever heard of the Seder Square?
Mm-hmm.
So the Seder Square is 5-word palindrome, and it's Seder, Europa, Tenet, Opera, Rotas. So no matter which way you turn it,
and they're all in the movie.
Exactly. So there's a lot of cool ideas that this thing plays with, and I think we're just all kind of getting to the same point at the same time, that there is more here, and you're not necessarily supposed to really look at all the dialogue, but maybe like the more simpler facts of this movie, like the title and the characters' names, and how that all plays into this one thing that everybody looks at a movie as just a movie's a movie, but you can turn this thing left, right, top to bottom, and it still reads out the same way. And it's really cool how you can just see those little things make up this big thing that you're meant to see at kind of the end of the story.
Yeah. I like I know we always kind of get in like what are some of our favorite scenes in there. So I love the highway scene, but I also like the scene when
the tower scene.
Yeah, it's like that's a really small segment that probably went over most people's heads. But that in that exact scene, it's like it's a building that's blowing up in real time, and it's inverted.
The tower and the climax that they
yeah, and it just I can't believe they were able to pull something like that off. You know what I mean? Like your brain almost can't even register what's happening.
Yeah, for a second I thought you were talking about when they bungee jump onto the building to talk to Indian.
No, that was cool too as well. You know what I mean?
No, I will say, like, as much as I've been kind of talking about the flaws of this movie, it does have something
it's got some shit going for it.
It's got some shit going for it. It's got really cool. It's like you said earlier. When things are going forward and reverse in the same shot, it's so cool. That final action scene, as much as it confuses me, it's really cool to watch. Yeah, it's hard to tell what's going on in that. But that doesn't make it not fun to watch. Like, it's still a spectacle. It's still really cool.
Yeah. The really funny one-liner to me is when the protagonist meets Seder for the first time on the boat, and then he meets him. He sits down, right? He was like, "I don't want to talk. Just tell me if you've been fucking my wife." And he's like, "Not yet." And it was just really funny because everyone in the theater laughed.
Yeah, he's got some really good one-liners, some
Yeah.
very James Bond-esque one-liners.
Yeah.
sure.
It's funny, and that's when Sater gives him that spill of like chopping his balls off. And
Yeah, I'm
putting
gonna
them in
put
his
the balls
throat.
through your throat. That was
Yeah.
He's like,
great,
have you
too.
ever seen a man try to remove his
Choke on-
testicles from his
Yeah,
own throat?
choke on his own balls.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it, man. I think we've all kind of exhausted our opinions on
Which
Tenet.
makes you think, like, what if he's from the future? Because what if he already knows he's gonna bang her?
Hmm.
That's what he says not yet.
True.
Didn't go over my head.
That
I know
okay,
one thing
I don't like
caught
that at
on.
all. I'm gonna be honest. That makes no sense.
I know
Sure.
one thing I did catch on second watch here was when the protagonist meets Neil. So Neil is Robert Pattinson's character. When they meet for the first time in India, right? And then he introduced himself, and then the waiter comes up. He's like, "Would you like anything?" He's like, "Yeah, I want a gin and tonic." And then he was like, "Oh, what is it? Like a Diet Coke for him?" And then he was like, and the protagonist had something
Like, you
about
don't drink
getting like an
alcohol.
alcoholic beverage. Yeah, he's like, "How'd you know I want an alcoholic beverage?" And he's like, "I know you don't drink on the job." And it was just funny because the protagonist
That's
doesn't
a
think
cool-
anything of it. But yeah,
Yeah.
you know, in hindsight, that's because they're
He's like, I do
they've been
my
best friends
research.
forever.
Yeah, you know what? That's
Yeah.
a good. That's a perfect example of something you'll probably pick up on a second watching. That.
Mhm.
Thank you for mentioning that, because now that you say that, I forgot about that little line. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a bummer, but it's Nolan's own fault that every single one of us is like, hey, we need to rewatch this with subtitles, and every single one of
Yeah.
us has been like, hey, but we'll have to do it when we're home, or wait till you go home. When like
Yeah. Mhm.
2 weeks ago, all of us were like, I can't wait to get out into a theater
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
see this, because it is a movie that deserves to be seen in theaters, and it truly is. But it needs to be in
Yeah.
a theater with subtitles if Nolan's going to continue to score and audio mix his films that way, which is
Yeah.
just upsetting.
No, for sure. All right, are we ready for the entropy list?
Let's do it.
Bring on
Alrighty.
the list.
Alrighty. Well, welcome back, listeners, to whoever skipped over spoiler talk. We're gonna put this movie on our entropy list. We have almost. I think this is gonna be the 10th film on our
Yep.
list. If you can pull it up really quick. Yeah, we have 9 films on there right now. This is gonna be the 10th. Is this gonna be the last episode, or I
Number
read
10.
everything off? Or are we stopping at 10?
I think
I would
that's a good
say,
break.
yeah.
What I'm gonna start doing, what I decided mid-episode right now that I'm gonna start doing is putting the entropy list link in the description. So if you want to reference
Great
this as the
idea.
list for the list as a whole, go ahead and check the description. I will be putting it down there so you can go see it yourself. All right. But I will read it off for you guys, of course. It is going to be number 1 is Arrival, 2 is Pan's Labyrinth, 3 is Prisoners, 4 is Inception, 5 is Green Room, 6 is Blind Spotting, 7 is The King of Staten Island, 8 is Project Power, and 9 is An American Pickle. Blake, I'll go to you first, buddy. Where are you putting this?
First one to give an opinion. I'm gonna
Yeah, first
go.
one, toss it out.
I would probably put it under Green Room.
Above blind spotting.
Under Green Room, above Blind
Yeah,
Spotting.
and I'd probably
Okay.
put it above Blind Spotting. So what is that? 5?
That would
That's
make
maybe
it
six.
that
That
would
would
make
be
it
6.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
it's
Yeah, that's fine. I could sit with it there.
Thinking 6.
I'd put it right under Green Room. Like Green Room more than this. One, because it's just significantly shorter, so it's a much easier watch.
Yeah.
2, I don't need fucking subtitles to figure out what's going on. And 3, it's not a brain fuck. You know what I mean? I can
Yeah.
sit and watch the Green Room. I know what's going on. The plot's linear. There's a point A, there's a point B. They get to a conclusion, and that's it. And I'd leave it at that.
Ty?
I was gonna say 6, so
Okay.
I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah. Nizza?
I'd actually have it below blind spotting.
Okay.
Okay. You have it at 7
7.
or
Yeah, below
7?
blind spotting,
think-
above Staten Island.
Okay.
I really like this movie, but for me, it's not my favorite Nolan. I'd rather have I can see in the future as we expand this list of blind spotting sitting above this, and there being kind of rooms in between it and that kind of thing. So I think blind spotting for me is a more unique film. Newer guys was more interesting to me. So I have no problem with that. I think it's better than Staten Island. I think it's way better than Project Power. I
Yeah.
think it's way better than American Pickle.
I'm right
so-
there. I'm right there with you for pretty much the same reasons, Nathaniel. I think it has a nice little spot there at number 7. Because everybody knows how much I love blind spotting here. I'm probably the biggest advocate out of the 4 of us. So I don't really need to say much about that. And I definitely think it's better than. I agree with Blake. It's better than Green Room for sure. So I guess it comes down to, do we want 7 or 6? And I think we're gonna have to tie break this on the IMDb here. Is that what we're doing? IMDb for the
Oh man, that IMDb is gonna have that thing at probably like a fucking 8. At
It's
least
actually
a
no.
5.
It's
At least
7.9.
Tenet's a 7.9.
Yeah, that's pretty high,
Blind
dude.
spotting here.
Blind Spotting, I think, was like a 6 point something.
Yeah.
Blind spotting is a 7.4.
Ooh.
Yeah. 7.9
let's look
is
at
high.
the
I think we said
you know what, I
Arrival
gonna say,
was
let's
only
look
like
in
a
the difference
7.6.
in ratings. I thought Blind Spotting might have more since it's been out longer, but it's Tenet already has more ratings than Blind Spotting by
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, by almost what 50,000.
they almost triple.
I think you can almost go
quadruple.
more off the Metascore there. Metascore is from all the critics. They've got it at 69.
Yeah, I like that a little
Blind
bit more
Spotting
than
77.
Okay, I would rather do that. I think so.
We'd have
I
to
think
change our whole.
I mean, yeah, but you have to change the whole thing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, IMDb
Well,
is Metascore is part of IMDb. Like the Metascore rating is actually on the IMDb site.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, since we've been going off of.
Well, we've also
I think we've been going
the
off
other
the
two
fan
tiebreakers. I think we've done
reviews.
tiebreaker 2 or 3 times. The other 2 tiebreakers, I have also checked the Metacritic and Rotten Tomato scores. I don't think anything changes. But I would almost rather also give Blind Spotting the higher spot. But
I'm just,
I don't
know, one of those people you can't change the rules once there's a game in play. But
I don't care.
you know what? I'm gonna pull a Christopher Nolan and say fuck the rule. No, I'm just kidding. I'm down. Yeah, I'm down to follow the rules. I mean, we had rules established. The tiebreaker we said was the rating
Right.
on IMDb. Nathaniel, are you okay putting? I mean, I'm heartbroken.
Yeah, I'm
putting
fine with it. I don't. It's fine.
What's crazy about that IMDb rating for Tenet, that's probably within the top 2 highest rated films we have. Like, at a 7.9. I bet you the only
Tenet?
higher one is Pan's Labyrinth. So
Inception.
you said that was 8 something. Okay,
Yeah,
I forgot Inception's on there. So this
Yeah,
is
I think
probably the third
Inception
highest.
for a while was the highest rated movie on IMDb. That was kind of when I started following that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, I don't think
can agree with
Arrival's
that.
above this. I don't think Prisoners above this. Yeah, I'm talking in terms of IMDb, right? The
Yeah,
rating
sure,
on
sure.
that. I don't think any of those are going to be higher than this film.
Sure. Yeah.
So where did it land?
All right.
At the end of the
It
day.
landed at. I think we agreed to land at number 6.
Okay.
Yerp.
All right. Let me read off our. This is gonna be our final time reading it off. Really.
Yeah, if you want to see the
Gonna
entry
get
list,
so
it's on our
bad.
letterbox.
Yeah, it's on my letterbox. I'll put it in the description. We got 1 is Arrival, 2 is Pan's Labyrinth, 3 is Prisoners, 4 is Inception, 5 Green Room, 6 is Tenet, 7 Blind Spotting, 8 is now King of Staten Island, 9 Project Power, and 10 all the way there at the bottom is Blake's favorite movie and American Pickle. All right. Let's get on out of here. We're almost at 2 hours.
Yeah, we got a double one, man.
Yeah. So it's gonna be. I knew this was gonna happen with this movie, even though I wanted this episode to be shorter. But yeah. What's next? The 5-star review. I checked mid-episode
5-star
for
review.
you, Nathaniel. We don't have any new ones, unfortunately.
Then we won't worry about it.
And we will
My
not worry
5-star
about it.
review is please come give us 5-star reviews so I can read them off for you.
Tell the viewers about it in case they want to leave us at 5-star.
Oh yeah, we also had a former 5-star reviewer contact me during the week.
Ah, yeah.
Oh yeah, why don't you talk about that really quick? You can do that shit.
Yeah, so midweek I got a message on Instagram, on my personal Instagram actually, not even the show notes or the podcast Instagram, asking me, saying we had beef, and it turns out it was one of Blake's compadres who had also given us a 5-star review earlier, and he thinks that Cloverfield 3 is an enjoyable film. And I just said I would appreciate it if it was a little bit more scary than what it ended up being. And I think we agreed that our beef is squashed. And
yeah, I saw
we
you
went
sent
on that
screenshots
yesterday.
of that conversation to our group chat, and it was very amicable. I'm surprised how easily you squashed your beef.
Hey man,
Yeah.
like what you like at the end of the day. I talk a big game about
No
fighting
guilty
everyone.
pleasures.
But yeah, I
Yeah,
will
no
always,
guilty
if you enjoy something, I'm never gonna stop you from it
Yeah.
unless it hurts
Sure.
people. So
Sure.
Adam, you know who that's Frosty Plums when we played
Is it
Siege.
Frosty? Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Frosty Plums. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if that was the same person. We play Rainbow Six together. Yeah, so that gives me more context of who it was.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Our next topic, I think we're gonna have to decide this after pod, and I'm just gonna have to cut in because we messed up again and forgot to decide what we're watching for next week. So yeah, I think we'll just do that. You guys cool with that?
Yeah.
All right. Post production, Adam Schwartz coming. 3, 2, 1. All right, listeners. So if you haven't seen, episode 15 is also out at the same time as episode 14 right now. We recorded a second episode after recording this one. So during that episode, we decided we're going to go ahead and watch a horror movie next week. We're going to go ahead and watch High Tension. That is streaming on Tubi and Vudu with ads, so for free, but with ads. And then it's also streaming on Shudder. So if you have access to Shudder, it's on there with no ads, uncut, everything like that. So go ahead, give High Tension a watch, and join us next week for our review. All right. I think we're on to the plugs. We're on to the outro. Let's get on out of here. We're close to this 2 hour mark. Let's see if we can get it under 2 hours. Share the podcast if you want to follow us on Twitter. Or I should probably say share the podcast and elaborate a little bit more. Please share the podcast with a friend, family member, an enemy, who knows, anybody who you think might enjoy it. We need to. We'd love to grow and can't do that without you guys. So share it. If you want to follow us on Twitter, we're at Banter Row. On Instagram, we're at Back Row Banter Pod. On YouTube, we're just Back Row Banter. And then if you'd like to comment us for any questions, comments, concerns, your own reviews, or your own movie suggestions, email us at backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. Whew. Blake, where can the people find you at, buddy?
Letterboxd, man. Letterboxd, my friend.
Yeah.
BlakeHolder is on there.
Did you end up putting the session 9? Did you end up putting that on a review?
I did not. I thought I said I was going to do it for the Poughkeepsie tapes, but maybe I said it for session 9.
I think you said it was session 9 that you were going to.
Okay.
Did you see Poughkeepsie tapes yet?
No, I did not. Did not get to that one
For sure.
But yeah, so Letterboxd, BlakeHolder, I'll be on there. Just logged session 9, and I believe Annihilation in there, like I said, this week, and that's about it for me. All
right, Ty.
I'm actually going to start streaming more on Twitch because we got Avengers and that's been really fun. So that's
how is that game, by the way?
87. It's great.
Like
there are some flaws, but it's good. You probably don't have to buy it right away. It's definitely a game that they've built out for longevity purposes. All the DLC is free when you buy it. So that's really cool, and they will be adding characters, and they have talked about doing like raids, which could be up to like 8 people at a time. So pretty cool there. But that's El Trabajo 87, ELTRABAJO 87, and then Instagram, Letterboxd, and Twitter are all the same. It's Tyler Vidalis, VIDALES.
All right, and Nathaniel.
Yeah, I run the Instagram, so at Back Row Banter Pod. Follow us over there, hang out, come talk, we'll chill. And you can also get me on Letterboxd at NS Gingrich and Twitter at NS Gingrich. That is GINGRICH. Look in the show notes. And you can also find me on Instagram, NathanielG92.
All right. And I'm on Twitter. I'm at amschwartzy. Same thing for my Letterboxd, which is where you can find the Entropy list. And then I'm also on Twitch. I'm at AYYSH. That's going to be it for us this episode. I'm trying to get us under the 2 hour mark, even though after intro and outro and then the post credits, the episode's probably going to be 2 hours, but the chunk is going to be around there. All right. Well, without further ado, we will see you guys next week. We'll BRB.
Be excellent to each other, BRB.
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 American. Ready for another lesson.
But at least build that supply and demand up through profiting right out of your first batch.
Wow. This is almost like you're a store manager. You need a promotion.
Thanks, dog.
Of course, dude.
E-learning economics with Tyler Vidalis.
Either
I had
way,
a client, I had a client today. I told her I was going to be a professor. I wanted to be a professor, and she told me I needed to start my own college. And I was like,
How much
Donald
time
Trump
did you
method?
have?
The Donald Trump method, just start your own university, scam thousands of people.
she's like, all
Not
these
far off.
universities now, they're all into old stuff. And I was like,
What?
yeah, that's kind of the point. Like you teach things that other people know that's been around for a while. Like,
You can't teach things from the future.
You're teaching things
This
from
isn't
scratch.
Tenet.